Hey art nerds, happy Valentine's Day. It is stupid cold outside for Louisiana, but I had a cute Valentine's Day outfit that I wanted to wear, so I'm gonna wear it and freeze. There is nowhere to go anyway, but this year I've just been really trying to celebrate every event, like actually celebrate it. In years past, I would get kind of nihilistic about holidays like Christmas, Thanksgiving. Well, it's understandable to get kind of nihilistic about the true origins of Thanksgiving, but the possible current intent of Thanksgiving, you know, family, enjoying a big meal if you can, just being grateful for what you have, that's still pretty valid. Anyway, I've been pretty nihilistic about celebrating holidays in years past because I could actually go out and do things. I had the chance, I had the option, but since we're home for COVID, I figured I would celebrate every holiday I can to the best of my ability because it kind of breaks up the monotony of every single day kind of feeling the same, which I know a lot of you guys are going through as well. It's Valentine's Day. I did not get anything for Valentine's Day. I guess I don't have a sweetheart, but I did give my husband a nice Valentine's Day present. We were supposed to go to Kyoto for our honeymoon last year, but COVID. So instead, I gave him a trip to Japan at home with like some bath salts and a bamboo bath mat and, you know, other stupid but cute things. And the main star of that show is a Zojirushi water boiler. I had a water boiler before. It came from Goodwill. It was terrible. So it'll be nice to have a nice water boiler and not, or I guess an electric kettle, and not have to run to the stove every time and turn on the gas. So I recently shared some Cara Valentines that I've been working on. This took so long, but this is the Valentine's thing that I'm actually pretty proud of. It's not done yet. I want to marker it. I know that'll take some time. I theoretically could stream it. Got a headache. Don't really feel like it. So I'm just going to try to work on it and then share the video with you guys. So I hope you're looking forward to it. And big talk about the outfit, but no show. It's like a skater dress, and I just can't finagle the room enough. It's cute though. It's kind of, as I fall, it's kind of short, and all of my stockings that would match this outfit are packed. So if I'm gonna go outside, I have to put on pants because it is cold out, and this is a little short for as cold as it is. But I thought it was a cute outfit, and I wanted to at least put it on, even if it's too cold to wear it and there's nowhere to go. But that's 2021 COVID vibes here in the US, isn't it? A lot of us are dressing up because we want to dress up and because we're tired of wearing PJs. Not that there's anything wrong with wearing PJs, but some of us are tired of wearing PJs. So this is my outfit. I'm gonna go show my husband, see if he says anything about it. And then I guess I'll go put some real clothes on because it's too cold to be wearing this. Okay, so here is the more weather appropriate Valentine's Day outfit. Jeans, same top, still pretty cute. Joseph's right there playing Super Hexagon. He approved of the first outfit. We'll see if he approves of the second. In the end, it doesn't really matter. I wear what I like, but I do like for my husband to like what I wear.
That's cute.
Still cute, but more weather appropriate because it's cold.
Yep.
It's cold. You mind if I show them you playing Super Hexagon?
Right now.
Okay. Is it going to make you nervous?
No.
I can't play video games if people are watching because it makes me nervous.
Okay. I'm also just in a weird corner over here.
Yeah, I'd move this so that I could actually show what I'm wearing.
Yep.
But let me move it back for ya. Valentine. You want to go for a ride with me?
Where?
Kohi?
I guess we could.
Woo! So I'd hoped to work on that marker piece today, but I had a migraine today. I just really wasn't feeling up to it. So instead, I decided to work through some of my backlog of mechanical pencil reviews. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on, but I wanted to kind of show you guys what the process actually looks like. It's a lot of hunching over so I can get a good view of my paper without having to turn it around a whole bunch and make you guys seasick. And it's also a lot of note taking. I'm constantly stopping to take notes in a notepad, so when I'm recording my narration later, I know what to say. And that also allows me to share the transcripts with you guys. Since I've already written down those notes, they're already typed up, and I can just copy and paste them into the description. So I hope you guys are looking forward to some of these reviews. There's been some winners, there's been some losers, and if you're still looking for some good mechanical pencil recs, I have an entire playlist where I share these. I'll explain a little bit later on what I'm looking for when I'm writing these, recording these, but there's always a writing component and a drawing component. And today I kind of just felt like doodling a whole lot of Valentine's stuff. So you're going to see a lot of Valentine's doodles with these pencil reviews. I feel like you guys are gonna, I feel like you guys are probably gonna hear me say this a lot now that I live in Louisiana, but today was another migraine day. They're just always right behind my eye. When I was a kid, I used to see a neurologist, and I continued seeing the same neurologist until I was an adult. We had a lot of tests done. I received allergy shots for several years. It's basically brought on by changes in the weather. Before it rains, this mold falls from the sky, and I'm allergic to that, and dust, and cats. But the weather in Louisiana has just been real back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and I know there's like a polar vortex, and that people in other areas are suffering way more than I am here. I mean, it's cold, and I have a migraine, and it's gross outside, but it's bearable, whereas people are getting like intense amounts of snow, and like Texas has announced that they're in like a state of emergency for all counties due to the weather. So I'm not over here like, oh, we've got the worst weather, because y'all know I genuinely don't feel that way. I just get a lot of migraines down here, and that was one of the things when I lived in Nashville. It was actually a lot better. But I'm also kind of slowly working my way back into regular doctor's visits because got married, got on insurance again, and so I'm hopeful that that will improve. I quit seeing my neurologist when I was on single payer insurance, and I was paying $300 something a month with Humana, and I also tried, I think it's not United, it's the other one that starts with a U. Anyway, I was on Humana One for a while, and then I received a bill 6 months after my last visit for $600 because Humana decided they were not going to cover it despite me disclosing that I had migraines when I applied, paying extra so I could see a neurologist. And yeah, they were just like, no, we're not covering this. And this was right before President Obama did that thing where you can't penalize people for having pre-existing conditions. I'm just super lucky like that. So anyway, I've had a migraine for most of the day. It's not fun. I wanted to do the markers on this illustration here, but you know, when you have a migraine, you really don't want to be dealing with strong smells like alcohol. markers, and alcohol markers are also one of those things that once I start messing with them, I usually keep pushing until the piece is finished. I don't take breaks necessarily. So I'm just gonna wait for a day where I'm feeling a lot better to work on it. Even though it's Valentine's themed with chocolates and roses, it's still really cute, and I feel like it will do just as well anytime I release it. And by that I mean it won't do well at all, but that's okay. I don't make art just for the views. So what I ended up doing today was knocking out a lot of pencil tests, well, recording a lot of pencil tests and taking notes. And so what that, I mean, I kind of showed you guys what that entails, just, you know, just showing you guys the process. But basically I do a writing test, I do a sketching with colored lead test, and I do a drawing test, because when I'm reviewing these pencils, I'm not only reviewing them as an artist who draws and uses mechanical pencils, because I cannot be bothered to sharpen a pencil, but also as somebody who had grip issues, as someone who was learning how to write. And I just wanted to learn how to write so badly, so badly, that it didn't really deter me. I actually have an incorrect grip even as an adult, but they've come a long way with pencils designed to help people with those kind of issues, to help children with those kind of issues. And then I've also mentioned a million times that I do have early onset arthritis, and it's actually cold enough outside that it's starting to act up a little bit. But I've also got a Parafin Wax Bath in the bathroom, so that should help. So when I'm reviewing pencils, I'm not just looking at them like, is this good for drawing? Does this work well for drawing? Does it snap leads a lot? I'm also looking at it from a viewpoint of, would my students be able to use this? Would it be comfortable for them? Is it comfortable for me? Is it comfortable for me as somebody with arthritis? And I share that just because I think it's important information, and I think those kind of disabilities deserve recognition and deserve accommodation. And if me sharing my thoughts on it helps people, whether they've got a kid with grip issues or an adult with grip issues, or they've got arthritis, or they're just looking for a good pencil to draw with, hopefully that's helpful for them. And I don't know, I'm such a nerd. I read Consumer Reports as a kid. Like, I just like reviewing things. I like comparing things. I like having like a tally in my mind of where different things stand. It's really surprising I never got into Pokemon. I think the reason I never got into Pokemon is because I would have wanted them ranked by cutest, and that is not how that goes. So that's probably why I never got into Pokemon. But it's to the point today where my head hurts bad enough that I need to go like lay down and then eat some dinner. So it may just be the end of the day for me, because I may just not have more to give. And that it is frustrating having a condition like migraines take away work time, affect my work life, affect my personal life, because when I woke up feeling crummy, it means I don't want to go do stuff. It means I don't have the energy for certain things. It means I'm afraid that doing certain activities will make my head hurt worse. And that's certainly not something that I like. You know what I mean? Like, anybody who says they get migraines, it's not a fun thing. It's not like they're just saying it to get out of work. It's a debilitating thing that if you don't take it seriously and treat it, it just gets worse and worse and worse. Like, I was getting cluster headaches while I was at SCAD, which is like a migraine on steroids. So I'd have like a migraine level headache with auras and nausea for 5 days, and I still had to drive myself to school and drive myself back and do all the assignments and act like I was okay. And I don't want to get back to that point. And it's gotten to the point now where with conventions, I know I'll have a migraine for at least 2 of those days. And it's because of the lighting, it's because of overstimulation, it's because noise levels are just, and I don't just mean people talking, I mean like cons have gotten very, very, very loud, with booths blasting music and the dealer's room blasting music, and then people going around with like boom boxes and stuff blasting music. It's a lot, and I know I'm not the only artist who hates all of that. It's like, I know, hates fun. But you also have to think, we're sitting there for at least 10 hours a day, can't go to the bathroom, can't get something to eat, can't even take a break. We can't leave the area, we're trapped. And I do believe incessant noise is a form of psychological torture. So anyway, I'm gonna go lay down. I'd actually like to get some more pencil tests done today if I'm feeling better. That way I can work on doing narration and start releasing them and hopefully introduce people to their new favorite pencil. I got like 5 or 6 done today, and I could very easily do 4 more, no problem, if I don't have a migraine. So it's time. You guys can tell, like, I'm hiding my eyes, I'm rubbing my temples, I'm rubbing my eyeballs. You can tell, like, and then part of it is there's a light right there, and then this one too. You know, that's the detriment of working on the surface of the sun, is migraines. That if it's not super bright, then my camera has trouble with it, and I have difficulty seeing colors, so it's a payoff. But anyway, it's, man, I gotta go lay down now. So if I don't check back in with y'all tonight, y'all know why. But hopefully I'll feel better after eating and laying down for a bit, and I'll be able to get back to work and be productive and be happy. I like drawing, so you know, it is something I enjoy, and it's something I'd like to be able to get back to do. But if I don't get back to you guys, I hope you guys had a happy Valentine's Day. I think of Valentine's Day as a day to celebrate and appreciate the people I love, not just romantically, but my friends and some people I work for, and just the people in my life who I appreciate. So I don't really get why y'all watch the vlogs, I won't lie. I try to make them, I know they're company, and I can get that. But I'm glad y'all like them, and I hope you guys enjoy going on little adventures with me. Like I've said before, once COVID is something, especially in Louisiana where people don't wear masks and people don't wash their hands and people aren't careful, once we are at a different stage with COVID where it's safe to go out and do more things, I look forward to sharing that with you guys, and sharing the food and sharing the culture and sharing the fun of Louisiana. So, oh, another thing I wanted to do tonight was send out agents, like postcards to agents and publishers. I need to go take a rest so I can do that, because that is super important. So, hey y'all, happy Monday. I just wanted to give you guys a little TMI talk, because I know some of y'all are worried about me. I had a bad migraine yesterday, so I'm still out of it. I know it seems like I have migraines a lot. This is a lot. I have them occasionally in Nashville, and when we moved back here, I wasn't having any for a while, and now that the weather has been up and down with like the ice storm, I've been having them a lot. So I want to talk to you guys about 2 points, because I know some of you guys are worried about me on both of these points. One, I am in the process of finding a doctor to help with my ADHD, so it's not going to be untreated any longer. I already have a psychologist that I've been talking to. It's somebody I trust and have known for a while, and I am scheduled to start seeing a primary care physician here in Louisiana in April. Due to COVID and me being a new patient, that's the soonest she can get me in. But the goal is, between her and the psychologist, to find a psychiatrist and then start talking to them about ADHD support and anxiety support. So there is a plan, it's just a slow plan. And I also I've mentioned this in the My Life with ADHD series, but some of y'all are new here, and I've been mixing in ADHD stuff with my general artist vlog stuff, since I am ADHD, and it's important to acknowledge that. I was not seeing a doctor for about 5 years while I lived in Tennessee, because I had gone from single payer that didn't cover anything, even though I disclosed my migraines and I disclosed my anxiety and my ADHD, and I was paying extra for support for that. They would not cover those things. As I found out, I think I told you guys yesterday about seeing a neurologist and then getting a $600 bill unexpectedly 6 months later from said neurologist. So I had decided I was tired of paying all this money every month for no health, anything at all. So I didn't have health insurance for several years in Tennessee. And you guys might be wondering, well, why didn't you go on 10-Care? 10-Care, if you make, at the time I checked, if you make more than $900 a year, you can't go on 10-Care. So they may, if you go in person, they may be able to work something out with you. Yeah, they may have changed that, because you can't live on $900 a year, period. you have to make more than $900 a year to live, especially in Nashville. So I don't understand the rationale, but it was $900 a year when I looked into it, and just doing cons, I was making too much money. So I was caught in this in between of I make too much money for poor people health insurance, but single payer health insurance is too expensive. And I'd also put in for a lot of jobs like Huzzah and Starbucks and Michael's, because I was like, well, at worst case, I'll have access to their health insurance. And I never got any callbacks, which is its own thing. And Joseph and I weren't married at the time, so I couldn't be on his insurance. But I am on his insurance now, which is why I was able to get glasses. And I am pushing the ball on seeing doctors. So I know some of you guys are kind of worried about me. That is why I wasn't getting the health and mental that I needed at the time. I think it's an issue a lot of Americans face, a lot of self-employed Americans face. I think it's reprehensible that so many of us are caught in a system where doctors are so expensive, some of us can't afford to pay out of pocket unless I'm sorry, the cat always wants to get into something when I'm recording. I think he just wants attention. It's very hard for me to focus on him being behind the monitor and maybe knocking it over and talking to you guys. But if I stop it and I go get him, I might knock it over anyway. Cats are fun. Because I think a lot of us make just a smidgen too much money to be able to access healthcare and welfare programs, or we're guilted out of it by, I gotta go get him, I'm sorry. Or we're guilted out of it by our family and friends, like, oh, you don't need that, or that's for actual poor people. You don't qualify for that. Or you have family members who are very against social programs, and yet they're receiving donations for their health care needs. So I think the system we have in the U.S. is very messed up. I think a lot of people are undertreated, undermedicated, don't get the health care that they need. I know I was one of them. I have family members who fall into that category. So, you know, that's why I'm just talking to you guys about it, because I think awareness will help us vote better and also hold our politicians accountable. But I also wanted you guys not to worry about me, because it is something, you know, I've fought being on medication for a while because I grew up on medication, and I've talked about this, but I'll give y'all a TLDR. I had a doctor who basically just believed in shoving the pills in my face, and as long as I got good grades, it didn't matter. And I wasn't, and it made me not eat. I could not sleep. Well, or rather, it killed my appetite entirely. It made me unable to sleep. It had physiological problems that my doctor pretended didn't happen. And this was in the 90s with a pediatrician, so I know it's different now. It's come a really, really long way in the past 10 years. But I wanted to be sure I didn't end up with another doctor like that, because as an adult, I've had doctors who they did not care at all. It was get you in, get you out. And I was wondering if that was just the face of healthcare now. The psychologist that I'm seeing, I've known him for a really long time. He is not like that at all. He's a really good doctor, and he has a lot of ADHD patients, so I really like him. And I've been assured that the primary care physician I'm going to start seeing, she's a DO, and it sounds like she really cares about her patients and listens to them. And that's really all I want out of this, is like, just hear me out, because if you don't know what's going on all the way, then how can you make a judgment call based on 2 minutes and some tests? You don't actually know. So it is something I'm working on. I think I've mentioned it, but I want to make it clear. I am open to medication. I was just not open to medication with no kind of therapy attached, because I did that and it really didn't work. So I am open to trying different types of medications, trying different combinations of medications. I would really like to avoid the kind that amp you up, if possible, because I still have insomnia problems. But I will go with whatever a doctor tells me to go with, as long as we're open and communicating and they don't just shut me down when I tell them I had problems. So I know, like I said, I know some of you guys are worried about me. I know saying this is probably not going to make you not worry. I understand worrying about people. But I do want you guys to know that, like I said, I'm open to the medication. I know so many people who say their lives blossomed when they started taking medication. My life as a child did not blossom, but that doesn't mean I don't think my adulthood can blossom. And now he's gonna poop. With the My Life with ADHD series, I never, ever, ever tried to convince people not to take medication or to convince people not to see a doctor. My goal was always, you should talk to a doctor and see what they say, and just make sure that they're a doctor who cares about you as a person. So I hope I didn't. I've had so many people tell me that I encourage them to talk to a doctor, and that's wonderful. I just hope I didn't discourage anyone from talking to a doctor, and they just haven't told me, because I do feel you are responsible for the example you set, and literally what you tell people to do or what your actions tell people to do. And I hope my actions did not tell anyone not to do that. Because then I would be somewhat responsible for that. And that's also cats. He got the ghoulies. That's also why I'm telling you guys this now. Is it's part of me taking responsibility for possibly having misdirected, inspired somebody negatively, or misled somebody into not getting help. If you experience the symptoms I experienced, I know I have ADHD and I know I have anxiety problems. These are things I was diagnosed with years ago. But if you see yourself in me, please talk to a doctor. Please get some help. Pushing through it is not, just being normal. That's not being normal. I was killing myself doing it. I still am to an extent, but I have an in plan, and it's really just about waiting until the doctor has an opening, because I can't rush that. So please don't think you have to fake what you think everyone else is doing. Please talk to a doctor about it, or you can reach out and talk to me about it. I'm happy to talk to you, but I'll caveat, it does sometimes get kind of exhausting. So if you need encouragement, yeah, you can message me, but if you're legitimately trying to decide, I would recommend talk to a doctor, do some research online, watch some other ADHD vlogs, watch the My Life with ADHD vlogs, and read the Hollowell books, Driven to Distraction and Delivered from Distraction. If you're one of those people who really has to be convinced to do something, please do that. Please, I've had people also, basically, this was years ago, so it's not anyone recent, and they didn't even watch my stuff, so it's none of y'all, I promise. But it was in a comics community I was in, and for months this person went back and forth, am I ADHD, am I ADHD? And it would take up hours of chat time in the public boards, with them wanting to go back and forth, and me and several other chatters who have ADHD being like, if you think you're ADHD, talk to a doctor, and then wanting to argue about it, and then make it a pejorative thing, and it just became this thing that I'm not equipped to deal with, because I'm not a medical health professional. So, please don't do that to me. I'm a comic artist. That's not my job. But please do talk to a doctor. And if you want to compare experiences, if you want to compare symptoms, if you want to compare just lived experience, I would be happy to talk to you. But keep in mind that ADHD looks different for different people. You can be hyperactive. Sure, you can be hyperactive. You can also be the typical daydreaming space case, the inattentive type. Yeah. Also, you can be combination type, where you're hyper and inattentive, like me, and it looks different in all kinds of different people. It used to be that girls didn't get diagnosed because boys exhibited what they considered the like de facto symptoms. Now they're diagnosing more girls, but they used to think we grew out of it. Now they're diagnosing more adults. So ADHD looks different for different people. That's why some of us record vlogs about it, so that you can see a little slice of experience. And in a way, in a way, I'm not justifying it, but in a way, me talking to you guys, knowing I'm ADHD, but knowing I'm not medicated, I think can be useful because it can be, for many people, a mirror. You know, for someone who hasn't been diagnosed yet, they can see the behaviors, they can see the things I'm struggling with, me, someone with known ADHD, and say, oh, that's me, and then they can go see a doctor. But I think I've shared enough unmedicated. I'm excited. I legitimately am excited to be getting help because I feel like I've hit a wall in my life. I feel like professionally I cannot bust through this wall. I don't know what to do. I feel very lost. I'd love to have a mentor. I just need some help getting back on the right foot. And when you're my age, 34, you're not a cute little kiddo fresh out of school anymore. It's harder to find that. And I desperately need art community down here. And with COVID, that's not so much a thing. So, you know, I genuinely feel like getting on medication, getting my serotonin right, getting my dopamine right, and getting my anxiety under control so I'm not stressed out and second guessing everything I say will make a huge difference because my personality was my selling point for a really long time. And I know I come across now as kind of grating and kind of uneven and annoying. So thank you guys for being kind. I'm aware of those things. People pointed them out to me before. But also, you know, when you live like this, you get on your own nerves. Like, that's something I wish people who don't have ADHD understood about us. We get on our own nerves. We annoy ourselves. We are not unfeeling, oblivious, spiraling, out-of-control tornadoes. We're people, and we are not unaware of what's going on around us, especially as we get older. Some of us are very sensitive people, so we can see that our lives are not what we had hoped and not what we worked for. We don't know how to fix it, and we're feeling all of that. So if you're watching this and you're not ADHD and you know people who are, please just be kind to them. You don't have to like let them walk all over you or anything like that, but just be kind to them. And yeah, I just wanted to tell you guys that because got a couple people messaging me that they were worried for me, and I realized I probably did not, because I talked to my doctor about it, but I probably didn't tell you guys that we're working on. It's a protracted thing, and I also don't know if they're going to need to retest me, which is fine, but that also extends things. And as every adult with ADHD knows, if there's paperwork involved, we're not super great at that. So that is going to be something that I'm going to have to try to be better at, but it may take me longer. And also, you know, when I lived in Nashville, my ADHD symptoms weren't this bad. When I was in grad school unmedicated, it wasn't this bad. When I was in undergrad, it was a cakewalk. When I was in high school, I got off medication my sophomore year, and I had no problems. It wasn't until the past 2 years, for sure, but I want to say 2015, when things really started to just get harder and harder and harder. And I'd been off medication for a while, so it wasn't my first thought that, oh, I'm having ADHD problems, because I can still get work done. That's not a problem. I'm still on time for things. All of those things that I'd been trained to do growing up, they're still in place. It's just so much harder with the isolation and working from home and being responsible for everything by myself and publishing books and not having a support group, either of friends or of fellow ADHD people. It's now at the point where I know I can't manage it, and that's why I'm getting help for it. So it's not like it's always been this bad. It's become this bad, and I can't do it by myself anymore. So anyway, I hope me sharing this helped in some way, was useful in some way, if only to make you guys not worry about me so much. It is something that is in the works, and I also am going, primary care physician, definitely going to talk about these migraines, because between the ADHD, forcing myself to focus, and the migraines, I'm not getting any of the things I want to get done, accomplished. And then seriously though, recording these vlogs eats up a lot of time and a lot of energy, and it is not necessarily the kind of content I want my channel's focus to be. And I know I need to polish them and I need to continue working on them, etc., etc. So, yeah, I'm really hopeful that getting help for migraines and help for ADHD and help for anxiety will help me better be the person I want to be. Let's not say become, because I think she's in here, but help me access that more frequently. Help me be on the ball. Help me be together. Help me be cheerful and assertive and have confidence again. And help me take a seat at the table and say, hey y'all, I deserve to be here. Because that's been increasingly hard for me. Alright, well, I'm still feeling a little bit out of it, so I'm going to go get something to eat. And then I'd like to finish the pencil reviews today. And then I can get them sorted and start editing them and start sharing them. Hope you guys enjoy those. And I've got some other stuff I want to work on. So I need to work on feeling better so I have the energy to do those things. Today I worked on more pencil tests. I really enjoy doing these pencil reviews. I don't have the best hand health myself, so it's really important to find pencils that are comfortable, and I like being able to recommend pencils that have comfortable grips or unusual grips or may work well for people with arthritis or for students who are struggling to find a comfortable pencil for school use, because pencils aren't just for drawing, y'all. They're also for school. I was able to do about 4 pencil reviews today, so I'm working through my backlog, and I hope you guys enjoy these and find them helpful and useful, because if they're not helping anybody, then there isn't really much point other than my own enjoyment. But I do enjoy doing these. Like I mentioned, there's a writing component and a drawing component, because I'm trying to test different parameters for mechanical pencils. I didn't think I'd feel up to it, but I ended up working on this alcohol marker piece today. Now these inks are from the other day. Had to let them cure for 24 hours, erase the pencils, and then scan them. But my amazing art nerds already have access to this really cute line art over on Patreon. I was able to share that on Valentine's Day, but I ended up finding it within myself to actually work on this thing. I didn't think I'd feel well enough today to do it. But you know how it is once you get started, sometimes it's just easy to keep that momentum going. Okay guys, so today was spent inside where it's nice and warm. Apparently we're having a winter storm. I'm glad I don't live in Texas, but my heart does go out to the family members and friends who do live in Texas. I hope you guys are warm and safe and ideally have electricity tonight, because I heard that, or I've read that Texas is having severe power outages tonight, and that's awful when you're having like unprecedented cold spells. So I hope you guys are doing okay. Here in Louisiana, in southeastern Louisiana, I think it's supposed to get down, or it did get down to 27 degrees. Joseph, how cold is it out there?
I don't know.
Could you look it up for me?
Sure.
Who needs an Alexa when you've got a husband? 25.
It feels like 15. It must be windy.
Wow. Yeah, I can hear the wind chime. See, this is exactly what I did not miss about Nashville. It was 25 and below a lot during the winter, and it was hard on me. So 25 tonight. Good thing we do have electricity, and I've got a nice Parafin Wax Bath that I could dip my hands into. But I think I'm going to call it a night and just sleep through the cold and let the cat sleep with me. So today I did a bunch of mechanical pencil reviews, which is good. And I even managed to work on this. I didn't think I was going to. I felt so out of it and just like off in left field all day today, which made for kind of a calm day, but not the best for getting stuff done. But I did get something done. Belated Valentine's Day. I think she turned out pretty cute, and I'm gonna have a video of this process for you guys. I had a really good time. I always like coloring. I always like using my markers, and I just really enjoy drawing cute art and then being able to share the line art and then being able to color it. There's something just really nice about, I guess it makes me feel like we're doing it together or something. Yeah, pencil reviews. Found some good ones, found some not good ones, but that's the point of pencil reviews. And marker coloring, not a bad Monday. I do not know what tomorrow holds because it kind of depends on what the weather's looking like. It's supposed to be a little bit warmer, but who knows? It might not be. And then on Thursday, I have an art squad Zoom class meetup hangout thing, and I need to chat with my co-host about what our plan is for that. So, might just be kind of a lightweight week. See, there was such a push. I was trying to get so many things done before Mardi Gras and before Valentine's Day. And then, you know, dealing with ADHD and dealing with a few migraines, actually, just kind of shifted the focus of everything. And when you've got a migraine, you know, your options are to take some meds and force yourself to work through it, which has led to cluster headaches for me historically, or to just be like, okay, let it go. I'm going to go lay down. If you're able to, I'm going to try to sleep this off. I'm going to take some meds, and hopefully I can come back later. Migraines are definitely pretty definitive like that. You either really wear yourself down working through them, or you just kind of succumb to, I know, it's like in the arms of the, it's like an in memoriam. Becca has passed. You just kind of give in and say that's what it's going to be like for now. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, and hopefully we'll have some warmer weather to look forward to. Hey y'all, good morning. It's Tuesday. We survived the super cold night, and the pipes only almost burst, but they didn't burst. As somebody who has lived in as far north as Tennessee, which admittedly is not like Michigan or Canada or anything like that, and has lived as far south as Louisiana, I humbly ask Northerners to stop making fun of us, because if you had summers like we had summers, we would help y'all. We wouldn't make fun of y'all. And there's been some really nice threads on Twitter where people from up north are sharing their experiences with how to stay warm during situations like this instead of just making fun of us. And I've been sharing the heck out of those because I have family in Texas, and I don't know if they're without power or not. The ones who live in East Texas, I would think not, because they get hurricanes and I think they have generators. The ones in mid Texas, I don't know, but I hope they're doing okay. And if they did lose power, they're pretty resourceful, so I'm fairly sure they'd know how to stay warm, but, you know, I don't know. So I appreciate those of y'all who have been sharing resources and sharing help and just generally being compassionate instead of just, you know, making fun of a part of the country that normally has completely different weather than you guys do. And it being February, it's usually spring for us here. So, you know, this unprecedented cold has really taken a lot of people by surprise. But anyway, I woke up with a migraine yet again. Yay! And that's why it's like almost 2 and I'm still in bed. But I'm editing video on my phone in bed. See? That's why I pushed so hard to find stuff I can do on my phone or like on a tablet. And I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm working on editing the Paul Rubens watercolor test using VN Editor, which I've only had one glitch with, and otherwise I really like it. And it's so good it's probably full of spyware, but I guess I'll deal with that. So considering I'm not feeling super great, man, if it wasn't for COVID, I'd go in and get a back massage because I know my back's a mess and I know that's a big contributing factor. But down here, people do not follow the rules. They do what they want, and that means I have to stay home more, which is keep my opinions, I guess, to myself. Other than please wear a mask, please wear a mask. Anyway, I'm gonna work on editing the Paul Rubens video. If I'm feeling better later, I'll do some voice work, and I'm gonna finish that Valentine's piece I've been working on. She's just about done. I think the only thing I'm considering doing is popping a white outline around her to kind of separate her from the background, but basically that's finished. And just generally try to take it easy today. Maybe take some Advil and relax and just not try to push myself too hard. Maybe get some more of those pencil reviews done. I took it easy yesterday, but all these weather changes and then having the heater on and stuff, it really just messes with my sinuses. So I guess I'm gonna go back to editing video while looking, super fresh. Must not be too cold outside because Bo has resumed his perch by the window, and look, Ma, no snow. Alright, Mezzanese, I guess you can guess what today is. It's Mardi Gras. And, ain't nobody I know doing any parades or anything like that. But, still, happy Mardi Gras. So, for those of you who live elsewhere and don't really know, Mardi Gras is Fat Tuesday. And the fat refers to like the indulgences before Lent starts. So if it weren't for COVID, I know a lot of people would be out partying in the streets and possibly getting drunk and catching Mardi Gras beads and taking photos with their friends and just generally having a big old good old time. Now, normally here in Norco, but in the Luling area where I'm from, so I guess I should say St. Charles Parish, the Luling parade would have been Saturday. And that's I believe it's like trucks and tractors parade. So largish trucks, not always like big trucks or semis, but sometimes people's F-150s will haul like floats behind them. And floats are kind of like trailers that have been built up and decorated and sometimes have a porta potty or a chemical toilet on it. And I just don't know how much you guys know because I know what the media shows Mardi Gras looking like, but that is a very specific Mardi Gras, like I've talked about several times here, and it's just really important to me that you guys understand that Mardi Gras looks different all across Louisiana, even into Texas, even into Mississippi. I know Alabama says they invented it, but I don't think so. I think Mardi Gras predates the states, but I don't know. So, as y'all could see from earlier, I'm still recovering from a headache. I'm trying to be upbeat and good spirits, especially because, it's Mardi Gras. It's a day of celebration before we have to enter, 40 days of fasting, 40 days of sacrifice before Easter. So, it's weird. It's real weird this year because Joseph went to go get me some PJs, which is a local coffee shop. You guys see it in my videos all the time. Absolutely not a sponsor. Would totally take their money. Would even just take free coffee. Would even just take $50. Would even just take them putting my art up in their cafes. But it's a local coffee store that gets a lot of my business. And they were closed today because it's Mardi Gras, which is kind of weird. Only in that we're not allowed to celebrate Mardi Gras like normal this year. You can't go out to parades. You really, really probably shouldn't be partying. So, I don't know, if it were me and it were Mardi Gras, I'd be open. I'd be trying to take that money because, but I'm not complaining. I'm just like, it's weird because believe it or not, Louisianians do like their money. It's just harder to come by here. Everybody gets paid a little bit less, so everybody's a little more frugal about certain things, but they'll also be willing to spend more on certain things. Like in my area, St. Charles Parish, everybody's real, except for Joe. Everyone but Joseph is real big on eating out. We can cook, we know how to cook, but that's not necessarily how people want to spend their time. So there's a lot of going out to eat. There's a lot of restaurants. There's a lot of like family gatherings, that kind of thing in this part of Louisiana. So that's one of the things that people tend to spend a lot of money on regardless of what's going on. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm really trying to feel better. I'm finishing up this cutie here. Pretty much done. I think I want to pop a white border to kind of pop her out of the background a little bit more. Pop, 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 pop. I have a package to unwrap that I'm going to show you guys. I was kind of thinking about doing a super chill stream today because, like I said, this is all the energy I have. I'm pushing it right now to be festive. But I want to finish working on that, or at least make some progress on the needle felted cat. And otherwise, if I don't make the time, it'll never happen. And when I'm not feeling good, it's just as good a time as any. And I also figure there are people who are like snowed in or stuck in who are probably kind of lonely. And maybe that can provide a distraction and some company and a little bit of a relief. That's the point. Well, the chill streams have 2 points. One is to review kits. Another is to maybe discover possible hobbies we didn't know we enjoyed. And the third is to provide company for people who might be lonely right now. And hopefully I'm succeeding in all three. I don't know. It's weird and wonderful that those streams do well for this channel. I mean, well is a very relative term here, but they do well for this channel in an afterlife. Like, people will watch them after the fact, and it's like, oh, cool. I like watching some people, like, I watch Game Dungeons 3-hour long in the middle of the night streams, but I don't watch them when they're going on. I watch them like after the fact, and I watch Kenny Lauderdale's Boomer talks about old anime, which I love. His streams, I don't like being around when they're going on live. I don't know why. I don't know. It's not him. I don't know what it is, but so I do. I also watch streams in post. I don't necessarily want, me personally, if I'm watching a stream and it's not somebody I know, because I'm kind of shy, I don't want to be interacting in the chat. Like, that's a little much for me. Like, my comfort level, I'm sure that'll change later. I need to work on being more outgoing in that regard. But I usually kind of sit back and watch how things are going, and then if I really feel like I need to say something, I say something. Or if I really feel like I have something to contribute, I can. That's me working on the ADHD impulsivity, and it just looped all the way back around to too cautious. But chill stream, finish this, maybe do some pencil reviews, and unbox a thing that came today. We've been waiting for it, and I know the craftsman who made it is eager to see if it fits the bill and eager to see my reactions. So let's do that. Let's get today done, and happy Mardi Gras and le bon temps roulé, which just means let the good times roll. It's a little creepy. Okay, time for the unpacking in this large package. Alright, we have one piece of nice wood. I don't know what it is. I think it's walnut though. You want to come help me? This might be a two-person load. Okay. We have... Ooh, it is butter. Okay. Give me a sec. Ooh, beautiful though. It must be hard to work with large pieces of... Oh, is it supposed to be kind of loose at the top? We can fix that. Up here. Sorry, I know I'm off camera. Alright, so what this is a riser. I'll clean that up later. This is a riser for watercolor So it should be just enough to get my watercolors a couple of inches off the table. The bowing doesn't really make a difference because I'm going to be working on a stretcher. In fact, I'll move the camera and show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so watercolor, maybe it wouldn't have these on it, can actually sit on the board because when you're painting watercolor, you want it slightly elevated. You actually don't want it flat. Normally what I do is I prop it up by putting a couple bottles underneath, but that makes it weeble wobble. So this is way more secure and it's gonna look way nicer on camera too. So thank you, Chris, for making this beautiful riser. It is a hefty chunker and I'm gonna re-glue that back leggy that's coming loose. But I'm excited to put this to good use. I'm really hoping this is gonna help my back as well because when I'm recording, I'm often like hovering over my work and that's not really great for my back, and we all know I'm an old hoss and I'm not getting any younger, so anything that can make it easier is much appreciated. So thank you so much for making this and sending it. It must have taken, I know it took you a while, so I really do appreciate it. Hey guys, so earlier today I ended up doing kind of an impromptu chill stream where I worked on needle felting that cat. I don't have anything to show for it because it was very low key, very low production value, and actually very nice. I really enjoyed it. It felt a lot more like just hanging out and chatting because that's what it was. So I really enjoyed it. I'm still feeling under the weather. Just migraine, aura-y. Like I think I mentioned yesterday, I have a primary care physician appointment in April. It's the soonest they could get me in because I'm a new patient. So I am definitely going to be bringing up the migraines because I got them in Nashville for sure. I think I'm getting them more here just in this span of really bad weather. And what's really concerning for me is that normally I'll have a migraine and I'll feel okay the next day, or I'll still have the migraine, but there isn't this fuzziness that I'm getting down here. A few years ago, my old neurologist wanted me to go in for an MRI, and my Humana one was like, we won't even cover a neurologist. You gotta be kidding. That's $10,000 for the MRI. So I never got the MRI. So now that I am on full insurance, maybe that is something worth investigating because my grandfather did have 2 aneurysms. The second one killed him, and my aunt, the aunt who lives with my mother, had an AVM. That's what it is, I think. An AVM. She had a bleed many years ago. And my dad's mom died of an aneurysm. So this is something that runs in my family. It really would not surprise me if it was something going on, frankly. I mean, that's upsetting to talk about. It's upsetting to think about, but I think it's better to be aware of that possibility than to pretend like it's not a possibility and to possibly die of an aneurysm, or, you know, have an aneurysm and survive it and then have to spend all this time recuperating if I'm lucky. So I do wish it was sooner than April, but also wish I wasn't such a mess as a genetic rag bag, but I didn't get to pick it. So I've been just kind of taking it easy today. I finished working on this piece here, and now I'm kind of cleaning up. I've been avoiding being in this room today because when I have a migraine, these lights are not great. So mostly been in the living room and in the den, just kind of either picking at work or chilling out. I know I need a haircut. We went to Norco Fresh today, which is the local supermarket, and more than half of the people weren't wearing a mask. And it was so weird because you'd get husband and wife couples, and the husband wouldn't be wearing a mask, but the wife was, and it was just like... And then neither the cashier nor the guy helping her were wearing masks. And it's just really, frustrating because I'd really like to go get a haircut, and nobody's doing what they need to be doing, so I guess I'm not going to be getting a haircut anytime soon. I don't want to be the reason someone else loses a family member or loses somebody they love. And when you're not careful, when you don't wash your hands, when you don't clean up after yourself, when you don't wear a mask, when you don't care, when you don't social distance, then you could kill somebody's family member. And to me, that's as bad as poisoning them. That's my opinion. To me, that's as bad as poisoning them when the solution is so simple. But I try not to talk about stuff like this on the channel because I feel like people are inundated with it enough. I feel like I want my channel to be a place where people can kind of escape and get some peace and quiet, you know. Not that these issues are not things that affect my life and they aren't things that are important, but I feel like people get this everywhere else in their lives. So when they come here to my channel, I don't want them to feel like it's always in their face. You know, I want it to be a place where they can escape. But if me talking about this in a heartfelt way, if me being honest about my feelings can convince people to wear a mask, to stay 6 feet apart, to wash their hands, then it's worth mentioning it every now and then. It's like when Remy died of mouth cancer. Remy was my cat, and she had an oral cancer that the vet, her normal vet, never picked up on because she's not a cat person, and claimed she was so difficult to handle. It's like, well, you can't treat a cat like you do a dog. And yet the emergency vet found it like super quick because the person who was handling her was a cat person and understood how to manage cats, you know. So like I made it a mission to talk about getting your cat's teeth checked because this is a preventable oral cancer if you know what you're looking for. So because even though it was painful to talk about and it's a sad topic, losing your pet, I thought if I could help one other person not have to say goodbye to their cat to a very sad death, and to be fair, we opted to say goodbye early. She didn't die of starvation or die of the cancer. But if this could be treated in an animal and they not have to die from it, then me sharing something that is painful and personal is worthwhile because I help this animal live a little longer and have a higher quality of life. And I guess that's how I feel about masks. If I can encourage you to take it seriously, then please let this be your encouragement to take it seriously. Because we're all so tired of quarantine, and we're all tired of the way things currently are. This is not a happy situation. Like, you know, I worked from home for years and I didn't like it. And I can see why. And now people who worked out of the house who used to be all snotty about it and be like, you're so lucky you work from home, now they hate it too. Like, we all hate the way working from home is. It's not a great system. If we can combat this by washing our hands and getting vaccinated and wearing a mask, then we can actually have things again. We can. Yeah, and that's it. That's all I'm gonna say about it. I don't want to harp. I don't want to be annoying to y'all. I don't want to nag y'all, because like that's not our relationship, you know. So I finished the tests on these the other day. They're pretty cool. I ended up ordering a bunch more of them. Well, I say a bunch, a few more of them off of AliExpress. So, you know, 5 years from now, we can fit. No, actually, that's not fair. AliExpress is pretty quick, especially considering there's a pandemic going around and everybody's getting their everything delivered off the internet. But I look forward to when they come in. I want to send a friend of mine some samples because I think they'd really get a kick out of them. I was kind of hoping to finish getting through. Not finished. Let me show you what I got. So I've been working on mechanical pencil reviews. Partially because I have used this Pentel Icy to tatters. So it's time to replace it, and partly because, like, you know, I have all these pencils that I've accrued over the years, or I got when I was in Japan or whatever, and I do enjoy doing the pencil reviews. They're not just helpful for me. I mean, I'm an artist with arthritis, as I say in every one of those reviews, but I've had people be like, oh yeah, my kid's got grip issues, thank you for this review, or I too have arthritis, thank you for this review. So, you know, I wanted to do a few more of them so that maybe I could help somebody find something really good. And I do try to do a gamut of like this is from Target, and these are biodegradable supposedly. Like, you know, mass market, easy to find stuff. And then, you know, more unusual stuff, like this is an air gel. I picked it up. I think I got it from MeiLiang in San Francisco. But like, you're not gonna find them at Walmart. Or the Kuratoga, which I've just never liked the way some people like them. They're okay. They rotate the lead in the sleeve, so it's quote unquote always sharp. But I rotate my pencil as I draw, so that's why in the reviews you'll see me like flip the pencil in my hand. So, you know, they're cool, but not necessarily for me. And then David's Art Supply carries a bunch of neat pencils. They're all by the checkout though, so by the time I look at them, I'm already checking out. But I've been picking up a few here and there. This is a Pentel Jolt, and it's a shake mechanism. You can also back advance, but anyway, these are all, let me hold them up for you. This is what I have left. So I'm real close to, I say real close, I'm close-ish to being caught up, and I'm always open to, if people, the Z Grips have some good shaka. If you want to send me pencils to review, if there's one you really like and I haven't talked about it, I would appreciate it. Email me and we'll figure it out. But, I do not, let me just put it out there, I don't buy from Jet Pens. They buy from anyone else, like Cult Pens. There's a few different, Mochi things. There's another pretty good one. I mean, none of them have as big a stock as Jet Pens does, but when I boycott a business, I boycott it. I don't always make like a big stink about it. Like I wasn't out, I'm not out to like ruin their business or anything like that, but I didn't like how they handled me, and I didn't like how they treated my friends. So that's my priority, my prerogative rather, to just be like, no. You can also, if there's cool pencils that you'd like to see me review, you can also just send me a link. You can even send me the Jet Pens link. I will track it down somewhere else if they're not getting a dime from me. But I'll use it as a starting point. Thanks for doing the research for me, Jet Pens. I only bring it up because people occasionally are like, have you tried Jet Pens? And it's like, I used to stand them so hard for so long. I'm very aware of them, and they're dead to me. But anyway, this is where I'm at with the mechanical pencil reviews. So it's getting there. I enjoy doing them. The art I produce when I'm doing them, I would not ever say it's like great art or anything. It's okay. Like, they're cute doodles, but that's basically what they are, is me doodling to see if these pencils are any good, you know? Because to me, I can't really tell you if a pencil's any good unless I draw with it. So, oh boy. I really just do not have it in me tonight. Like, I feel like I should be doing something, but I just don't have it in me. So I'm gonna just natter at the camera forever, and that's not, if I'm not saying anything, that's not great either. So I seriously doubt. I'm looking around like, is there anything quick I want to do? But the lights from the light wall I have right up here, they're already starting to bother me. So I'm just gonna take it, call it a day. I'd really like to start a larger watercolor painting. Like, I want to do the Paul Rubens Fieldtest because I have an illustration I really like for it, and I really like the paint, so I'm looking forward to playing with them. But the downside is I have Art Squad on Thursday, which means I need to clear off my desk for Thursday. And I'm not going to want to do that if I'm already painting something. Plus, who knows if I'll even be feeling better, because with the weather being all up and down, I'm going to get migraines from it anyway. So maybe I should just accept that. It's so hard though, because like I know a lot of other like people in the Discord are talking about all the things they're accomplishing, and that's wonderful. I'm not like pooping on your accomplishments by any shake, but like I don't have it in me right now. And I did the thing where I killed myself for something that didn't pay off. I did that in grad school. I don't think I'm gonna, if this is a race, I've already lost, you know, like, so I think it's okay to just take my time and try to feel better and not push myself too hard, you know, because it's not getting better work out of me, you know what I mean? Anyway, I'm gonna call it for today, because okay, so a little behind the scenes that no one asked for with the daily vlogs, because I'm still kind of seeing if I like them. I'm still kind of figuring them out. They end up being a lot of the content on my channel because they end up taking up a lot of time. After I finish recording for the day, I still spend another hour and a half, depending on what I'm editing that day's segment. And then at the end of the week, I edit Saturdays, and then I edit them all together, and then it takes all night for it to upload, basically. So doing vlogs the way I do vlogs, it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm still learning how to work around it and how to get other work done. And I don't know. Usually I'm used to doing vlogs where it's like, if I do a vlog, it's on a specific subject, or it is a very boring, static one shot where I'm just talking about stuff. Like, it's not multiple days and multiple things, etc. Except when I was in Japan, and I wasn't even trying to like edit that into a story. I do think it's cool when people do that, but that is spoons I don't always have. How about that? I was gonna say I try to use my storytelling for my comics, but that hadn't been happening either, and I feel kind of weird about that. Yeah, I think I've talked about this with the ADHD and the anxiety, and I'm gonna see a doctor. I just have to wait till April, and I'm hopeful that I'll be able to find focus again. I've flirted off and on with the Pomodoro method. For a while, I was using a modified version of it. It worked okay. I'm a big believer in the least you can do, where you find the smallest part of that task and you just start doing it, and you kind of build up momentum, and oh hey, you tricked yourself into working on it. I'm also a fan, or I used to be a fan of the Don't Break the Chain. That's how I got the Kickstarter done during a pandemic and got married. I don't know, man. It's just about the spoons. I just don't have them right now. And it's a real good thing that I spent a lot of time years ago decoupling my worth from my productivity and decoupling who I am as a person entirely, decoupling it from my productivity as a comic artist, because I would be having a harder time if I hadn't done that. But I do miss comics. I miss making them. I miss writing them. I want to be able to do that again. So we'll see. Maybe tomorrow I can like buckle down. If I'm feeling up to it, buckle down and work on scripting out chapter 9. Because there's a point where it's just kind of, when I say downhill, I mean downhill in a good way, like momentum taking you. So for me, it's usually once the thumbnails are done and I know I have a vision for that chapter, then it's just about doing it, and it's not as hard as, I know, right? Not as hard as the creative part. Well, you know, sometimes it writes itself, sometimes it draws itself, and sometimes it doesn't. So I had a dream last night that I had thumbnailed all of chapter 9, and I woke up disappointed that was not, it wasn't even the actual chapter 9 I'm working on. It was more about cats and cat writing, and it was like an AU chapter 9, I guess. And I felt so good about it because it's been a while. Like I did the 4 Coma comics in November. And, ooh, I was twitching. And it's just been a while. It's February now, so I know it's time to get back to working on comics. So anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And I'm not hiding my eyes because I'm ashamed or embarrassed or don't want to see you guys. I'm hiding them because I'm looking directly into the brightness of the sun, and not great for migraines when you're having a migraine aura. So anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow, which is Wednesday. Bye, guys. Look at this comfortable, cute boy. He is so cozy. Hey y'all, good afternoon. So I woke up feeling kind of poopsy earlier today. Took a Mucinex, feeling a lot better actually. Weather is still gross. Sharing resources to friends in Texas, hoping they can stay warm. Apparently Entergy is going to be doing rolling blackouts here in Louisiana too. Yeah, I saw how well that's going in Texas. But we have gas on our stove. Joseph says our furnace is gas. We're not on a generator, but my mom is on a generator. So if Entergy lets people know ahead of time, we could go across the river and go stay with my mom. So we're in okay shape. Please don't worry about me. I'm fine. If you have resources and it's not, by the time this comes out, it's not too late, and honestly, people probably will need them anyway, please direct your attention, affection, and money if you got it to people who need help in Texas. I've been sharing resources over on my Twitter, so there are plenty of, I don't want to say resources 16 times, but there's like warming centers, there's plenty of places like that are helping people, and then there are people who need the help financially because hotel rooms are going for like $999, so what can I even say? So, on a different note, I've been working on chapter 9! Woo! Yeah, after that bummer talk last night, I was on Twitter, and one of my friends has been using the Pomodoro method to help them get their work done, to get done. And while I am not necessarily ready for the Pomodoro method, I was like, you know what, I can sit down. First it started with like, let me check chapter 9 and see if I actually have a way for the chapter to end. And then it got to, oh, let me tweak a few things. And then it got to, let me put in some page breaks. And then it got into actual writing. And then this morning, or earlier today, I had Joseph, who's my #1 beta reader, read over it. And let me point out, like, he might be my husband, but he he doesn't sugarcoat things, which I really appreciate. When there's a problem, he points out there's a problem. If he can help me think of a solution, he can help me think of a solution. When people talk about beta readers, that's what they want. They want people who are going to point out the flaws in the work, especially in an early stage when you can actually fix them. We want you to point out the flaws and possible plot holes and, hey, I'm not sure about this, and like any kind of confusion, so we can fix it early on. We don't want you to just be like, it's wonderful, it's good. And I had him read it early. It's still pretty rough because I think this is an important chapter. It shows more about Lilliputian life. It shows how other people live. It shows more of Meldina's family. It's a chance for me to talk about why Ronan's the way he is. It's also a chance to show Kara and Tanner's friendship. So it's an opportunity for more Lilliputian world building and also developing story. But I wasn't sure if it was 100% necessary. Now, with a story like 7-Inch Carrot, you can just tell it straightforward, not do any world building really at all, and just focus on the friendship between Kara and Naomi. But that's like a steak with no salt, no pepper, no seasoning at all. It's still a steak, it's still good, but it could be so much better. But on the other hand, me personally, I like world building, but I have personally known authors who that's all they do, and it's this space epic, and it's super political, and I know that is some people's tea. Like, some people like it, I don't. So I'm trying to find a balance between like well-seasoned steak with a couple sides and like a smorgasbord of not well-cooked, overcooked, over-salted, over-seasoned food that all taste the same. So I'm trying to find that perfect meal spot, that perfect bite with my story. So chapter 9 is one of those things that is maybe a very useful side dish that complements the main dish quite well, and it doesn't. I'm trying not to devolve too much from the story either. I also want to show how dangerous humans are. Like, to Lilliputians who know about humans, they're dangerous. They're bad news. You normally don't make friends with humans. Humans can be cruel. They can be capricious. They can be fickle. Like, it's just better that you don't mess around. It's like having a lion for a pet. Like, it could go great, or it could eat your head. And that's how most Lilliputians are raised. Lilliputian Village School spends a lot of time talking about humans are crazy. And Kira was just raised, her dad figured they're just too dangerous. We don't talk about it. This is something we're not even gonna go into. And there are definitely analogs to this in real life. I'll let you guys figure. There are all kinds of topics that you don't touch because it might be too fascinating. They might go into it. I came from a family that my extended family thought Magic the Gathering was worshiping Satan. So just think about it like that, okay? So Kara's dad's approach is just like, no, they're not even real. We're not even going to, especially when he sees how outgoing she is and how impulsive she is. He figures she's going to be off like a shot and want to meet them. So he figures we just won't tell her about it until she's way older. And it's important to capture that, because what's really important to me with 7-Inch Kara, other than this being a story of friendship across differences, is also nuances in family. And you can have parents who love you a lot, and they are generally good parents, but they make mistakes. And I wanted to actually show that, because when I was growing up, and that's old people growing up, but gee whiz, my son, speaking of not a good parent, I must not be a good parent, because my son wants to go outside even though it's cold. Anyway, when I was growing up, parents in media were either perfect parents and they were fonts of wisdom and they never made mistakes, or they were dead, or they were horrible. They were the villain. They were someone you never talk to and you don't tell them anything that's going on in your life. And there wasn't a lot of nuance there. So with Kara, I really wanted there to be a lot of nuance. I wanted her parents to be believable people who, when you understand the rationale, you're like, yeah, I can get it. And I also wanted them to be capable of growth and capable of admitting when they were wrong. That's really, really important. So hopefully chapter 9 is I'm excited about it. People really like Tanner, even though he shows up in one chapter. So this is your chapter. This is the chapter where you're going to be like, oh, sweet boy. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that. And I'm trying to get myself pumped up in a positive way, build up my confidence, be excited about working on this, because if I'm looking forward to the chapter, and I am starting to look forward to the chapter because there's a lot of ADHD nuance in there too. Kara and Tanner kind of get into an argument because Kara gets real defensive, and I am 100% basing her reactions and her behavior off of me and how I was at that age. So yes, in this instance, Kara is me. So hopefully other people with ADHD will see that and they'll know. Even though it is not what we in our society would consider a very positive reaction, it's important to me that Tanner doesn't treat her like a bad person or treat her differently. He's just kind of accommodating to her needs without just giving in either. And so to me, showing ADHD in a positive light also means showing us when we're not at our best, but showing how people can react in a way that helps us be our best. Because there are downsides to having ADHD, as you guys have seen, just as there are upsides, in my opinion, to having ADHD. And so it's important when writing Kara to write both. But what's really important is how other people react to Kara in those moments. And it's really important to me that they don't treat her like she's monstrous. Which is something I went through a lot as a child, was being treated like I was monstrous or awful or undisciplined or whatever. And to be fair, Tanner's dad has opinions about Kara and her behavior, but what's more important is how her parents treat her, and also kind of showing that her relationship with Rowan is a work in progress, Rowan being her father, because he was raised in a very traditionalist family where the kids were expected to help and not complain and not have opinions and not have interests. And he left his family at 16. He jetted. So he's trying to be a different kind of dad, and he doesn't know how. And that comes straight from my own life. My dad grew up in a family where his stepfather adopted him, and he and his brother were they were biologically related. And then his other siblings were half siblings, and he always felt like his stepfather he was never good enough for his stepfather. And he tried to have a different relationship with me and my brother, and he didn't always know how. So a lot of how Rowan treats Kara is 100% like me and my dad. So for me, when I'm making comics, it's really, really important to pull from personal places. They're either my stories or their family stories, or they happen to a friend, or they happen to Joseph. It's all pulled from stuff that I've experienced. Naomi's relationship with her mother is actually very similar to my relationship with my dad, and as I got older, in a different way. So it all comes from personal places. And hopefully, as the story progresses, you guys can see that. Because that's why I struggle so much with this comic and talking about this comic, is because it is really personal. Like, I can take criticism on what to improve, but it is really personal, and a lot of where these characters are coming from and why they behave the way they do and their reactions to things come from they come from people I know, and they come from a personal place. And I'm not trying to say everyone acts like that. I'm just using that to inspire these characters, and also putting the love I have for these people into these characters. So yeah, let's keep that momentum up. Let's get that chapter written. There's also a lot of baby, I know you want to go outside, but you can't go out unattended. There's also a lot of emotional beats that I am excited to draw. And Joseph did point out, he's like, there's a lot of talking in this chapter. Younger readers might be bored. And it's like, that's a good point. I gotta vary the shots and show interesting things and show interesting expressions. I think that'll help, because when I was in 3rd through 5th grade, I liked reading books that were like I liked Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. I liked I enjoyed the Diary of Anne Frank, even though it was heartbreaking. Me personally, I liked stuff that was a lot of the character in their own head, the character just kind of going through everyday stuff. So I'm hoping that, but even though Kara is pitched to middle grade readers, it's really more of a soft all ages book, like a gentle all ages book. So I'm hoping that this will appeal to younger readers and also be fulfilling for older readers, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's nice to be excited about it again. I often feel like I don't really have people I can talk to about Kara. I lost a lot of my beta readers because of life, and that kind of hurt my enthusiasm, and it's not their fault. I mean, stuff happens, but when you lose all but one of your, and then it's hard to onboard new beta readers, right? Like, you don't really want new beta readers coming on in the middle of a series unless they are familiar with the work and they like the work. Like, it'd be great to have fans read it too, but I'm not specifically looking for people who just love everything I do. I want people who can be critical of the work and who can see the flaws in the work and say, you need to fix this, this, and that, because it's going to make it stronger. And it's going to make it a better piece. But you also have to be careful, because you don't want people who are just going to tear it apart because they don't like the genre, or they don't like those types of characters, or they can't relate to those characters. So finding good beta readers can be really difficult. And when you're in the middle of something and you're working towards a conclusion, having people come on in the middle makes it it can be dicey. You can do it. In fact, one of my favorite beta readers, Dylan, only beta read for like 2 chapters, but his suggestions were so good. And I was a little frustrated because he was like, I'm not really qualified to do this. I don't really think I have the ability. And it's like, no, dude, you're a natural at this. You're so good at this. You have such good suggestions. But confidence is hard, and it does take confidence to tell someone who you're friends with and who you want to help succeed, to tell them, like, hey, like, this doesn't make any sense, because there is a chance that they're just going to blow up at you and be like, you're so wrong. I know, so wrong. So the way I do it is I try to depersonalize it as much as possible. So I write my notes, I do all my writing in a Google Doc. I send them the link, I ask them to make comments, I read the comments a couple days later, and that way it's not personal. I mean, when it's Joseph, I am real good at not getting like mad about it and it not being personal. But I have found that technique works really well. I can either address their comments, or I can just leave them up as something to think about, or I can ask them questions about their comments, and it just works so much better than like sitting and them reading and me watching them read it and then them pointing out the problems and then me making notes. So Google Docs, even if you're in the same room, Google Docs is great. So tomorrow I have Art Squad, so I actually need to get a hold of my co-host so we can talk about that. Especially with the rolling outages, I'm kind of like concerned. We'll figure it out. Gee willikers! Gosh! Outside! But I was thinking today I might do some watercolor swatching, and then after Thursday I can get back to painting. And obviously keep working on that chapter, keep plugging away at that chapter. First chapter, volume 3. And there are Kickstarter things I still need to fulfill. I haven't forgotten. Joseph's been borrowing the Surface Book 2, which is what I would use to do the charms on, because his work MacBook, he did the Big Sur update, and it's foobarred now, and he's tried a bunch of different stuff, and he says he is the main income earner in our family, so we're reliant on him being able to work. Obviously, I'm going to hand over the laptop so he can work. So I haven't forgotten, still thinking about it, kind of juggling many things, but hopefully juggling them decently well, and also still juggling the migraines and my health. But we'll get there. We'll get there. I believe in it. We'll get there. And if you still haven't gotten your book, please contact me. I think there's 3 surveys left to fill out. We're so close, y'all. We're so close. And I know the mail's been screwy, so if you still haven't gotten your book, most of them shipped in December, check and make sure you filled out your survey, and if you did, get a hold of me and we'll get it fixed. So, yeah, I'm gonna go get some coffee from PJ's and let's dive into today. Package time! If this is what I think it is, it'll end up in the vlog. If it is something else, it won't. Let me open it. Ooh, okay, it's in here with some other stuff. All right, so, I don't know if I've mentioned this to you guys, but I've been watching the Billy Speaks videos where this lady has taught her cat how to use buttons. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it. So, my buttons came in, and you guys heard how insistent Bo was to go outside. Now he's sleepy. I'd actually take him out now, for a little while at least. So these are recordable answer buzzers. They're usually used for kids, like in class. I'm sure you could get them cheaper elsewhere. I don't intend to have the big old Billy setup of like 30 buttons. Mostly because we just don't have anywhere to put that. But I thought we could do 4. These remind me of the Staples button years ago. I was wondering if you could re-record on that. I don't think so. All right, so press and hold the red button on the side of the buzzer. Wait for the beep and then record a sound, music, or voice. Release the button, you'll hear a beep again. Tap the buzzer and listen to your new sound. Boy, this would be great for farts. They seem well made though, and they've got rubberized bottoms, which is nice because like you could put them on tile floor and they're not going to scoot all over the place. And they seem pretty sturdily made. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a Posca marker at some point and either write or draw, probably just write the what it represents. Outside is definitely going to be one of them. And it's, I mean, he can already tell me when he wants to go outside, but it's more about creating this understanding, creating this opportunity for communication. Because if, hey, come see. I'm recording, but, okay. My buttons came in.
Yeah, I heard.
So outside is going to be one of them. What are your votes for the other 3?
Definitely some kind of play one.
Play. Outside, play. Should we do de bird? Because we do call it de bird. Or and de floof. De bird, de floof.
No, I think play should be one.
We can always re-record them too.
Is another.
And pets.
Yeah, if you
or
want to do
snugs.
pets. I mean, he seems to want to be picked up more than pets.
That's what I mean by snugs, yeah. Okay. Outside, play, floof, snugs.
I mean, it depends on if you want to separate, like, cuddling on a couch with being held like a baby.
That's what makes this difficult, is we have nuances. I don't know if the cat has nuances. Treat?
No?
No, I know. We said we weren't going to do food ones because he would just do the food one all the time.
You also talked about a sleep nap one or whatever.
Oh, bed. Bedtime.
Yeah.
Okay. Any...
I want to record it while they...
I'm not. I want to write them down so that I can just do them and not have to re-remember them.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm going to wait for the heater to kick off. Outside. Bedtime. Play. And you wanted me to do the floof or snugs? Let's do pets, because pets is kind of generic. Pets. And what I really liked about Billy Speaks is that you can, to me, maybe I'm easily convinced, I don't know, it seems like they're having a genuine interaction. And for me, it's like that affirmation of knowing like the cat's actually getting something out of this and knows what you're saying is so cool. And I know people do this with their dogs. And I'm not surprised you could do it with a cat because, I mean, Remy knew a bunch of tricks and Bowie knows several tricks and he's clicker trained and he likes to go for walks on a leash. So cats are very trainable.
It also depends if you want to separate outside and wall.
I would get a separate button for walk. Because when we take him for a walk, that's a specific thing, whereas outside is just like hang out, enjoy the sun. I'm going to start with these, and if we like them...
I don't understand what you mean by these.
These four. If we like them...
We're trying to figure out what we want to be on the buttons, right?
I think this is a good subset. Outside, bedtime, play, and pets covers 4 different needs. We're intentionally not doing food. Food would just be...
Okay, so we're not doing specific types of play?
No, just play. I'm doing major categories, and just anytime, we'll just figure it out from there.
Yeah.
And then if this works and he likes it, I may get some more and do, like, outside versus walk, play versus the bird, pets versus cuddles. Anyway, I'm going to wait for the AC, or the heater rather, to click off, and then we'll record these. Alright, record time. I've got my instructions, so hold the red button on the side of the buzzer, wait for the beep, then record a sound, music, or voice. These not come with batteries? They did not come with batteries! I'm just so used to everything coming with batteries. And they need 8 total AAA batteries and a Phillips head screwdriver. So I guess I'm going to do that. Apparently I don't know where the AAA batteries are, so this might have to wait a little while. Alright, so I'm going to try 1, and then if it works, obviously I'll do the other 4. Alright, so press and hold the red button until you hear a sound or a beep. Outside. Oh, I did it wrong. Outside. Looked up, but he just Ruben. But okay, green is outside. You guys remind me. I guess I didn't catch that. Okay, all right. So I recorded bedtime. Sound quality is not super great on these. So magenta is bedtime, and that's Nutso Gracie. Barking at Joseph because he thinks he might have dropped his wedding ring in the garbage can by accident. All right, 2 more buttons, play and pets. Play.
Play.
All right, so you got to really enunciate with these. So play is blue. And Pets is going to be orange. Pets. Okay. I tried to make them all distinct words too. That don't. The only two that have the hard P. What are they called? Plosives. Hard P plosives are play and pets. Hopefully they're different enough. But otherwise we have outside, bird. Oh, I'm sorry. Outside, bedtime, play, and pets. So I assume you have to train them with this, which means a lot of like, you know, hitting the button and then taking them out. Wrote outside for pets. Orange for pets. Taking them outside, etc. So we can start with probably pets or outside. Okay, so orange is pets. 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 Good boy. Pets. Pets. Oh, you're not feeling good. You feel schmoopy. You feel schmoops. Schmoop, schmoops.
Outside. Outside.
You want to come in? It's nasty out. Oh, he's gross. Inside time? Inside time, Bocat? Outside, inside? Come on. Inside. It's okay. That was me. That was me making loud noises. Okay. Come on. I can't do this one-handed. Help me out. Good boy. Good boy. Good job. Yay, Bowie. My handsome boy. Alright, so I just got back from making groceries and eating some dinner. I went to Zapardo's and picked up their crawfish boil soup, which is very good, and a small package of pre-boiled shrimp. So we had shrimp and crawfish boil soup for dinner. Very good. Bowie also highly approved. He did love them shrimpies. So now I'm just going to kind of relax into the evening. I'm going to unbox and swatch this pretty excellent palette that I picked up at David's. I have seen this on Amazon and AliExpress. Usually it goes for quite a bit less, but you know, I'm supporting a local business and their prices on PWC are great, so I don't mind a little bit of markup here and there, especially if it helps them keep the lights on. I'm going to be doing that on my main camera, my phone, and after that I think I might just do some voice work this evening, do some VO for some of the stuff that I've already recorded, and just kind of take it easy tonight and maybe get some more writing done. Wouldn't that be great? I did get some done, so I'm not dissatisfied with my progress, but if I could get some more writing done, that would also be good. Good momentum. Keep that momentum going. Keep that energy going. And it is cold and rainy tonight, and I just got a message from next door neighbor, or next door, I guess, saying that all state offices in 26 parishes are going to be closed. So I'm glad I went due to winter weather. So I'm glad I went ahead and went grocery shopping. We got a stocked fridge, we got a stocked freezer, and it'll just be nice to kind of hunker down and be cozy, I guess. This is the most winter weather we've had all year, but it really makes me appreciate not living in Nashville, because, you know, I could do a week of this, but this was all winter when I lived in Nashville. I just couldn't do it. In fact, I think I'm going to go turn the Parafin Wax Bath on in the bathroom, so that when I'm done, I can rest my hand. I need to get a contact with my Art Squad co-host and see if this has changed anything. Supposedly, Entergy's rolling blackouts are just in Northwest Louisiana. In that case, I'm keeping y'all in my thoughts and in my prayers, and I'm going to try to continue to share resources and stuff. I know by the time this goes live, it's not going to do y'all any good. Hopefully they saw what's been going on in Texas and have kind of prepared, or at least mentally prepared for what's coming up. I mean, we've got a backup plan. If it's too bad, we'll go over to my mom's because she's got a gas generator, and at least we'll be warm and have electricity. But I definitely recognize that that's a huge privilege, and one that certainly many people don't have, and I am grateful for it. And I also will continue to share resources to the best of my ability on Twitter, because I know some people still have they have like I have like 6 battery backups, you know, like I can keep my phone charged even if I don't have electricity because I've got a million battery backups. I don't know why my phone just shut itself or just ended that recording. It wasn't even done, but basically all I said was that these past 2 years have just been really hard. They've been particularly hard for people who are lower income or poor or very job insecure. Man, it feels like the 2020s are just coming for us. But I think we're stronger than them, and I think if we can manage to stick together and help one another out, we can get through this. So anyway, just always when I hear something's happened to like the South or the Gulf Coast, you know, they're always in my thoughts and prayers. And if I have the money and I can find good resources, I do try to share that, you know, because the rest of the country doesn't really care about us. So we have to care about ourselves. That's why I have a lot of respect for the Cajun Navy. Is they're not just going to sit around and wait for the National Guard, which after Katrina, we know that can take a while. They're trying to get out there and help one another and be productive, and I think that's incredibly cool and noble. And I'd love to do a graphic novel about them someday. That's so cool. Anyway, I'm going to get to work and just try to be online helpful as possible. Sorry for the messy bathroom with watercolor supplies and eyeglasses and makeup, but I wanted to show you guys my paraffin hand bath because I've mentioned it a few times. As somebody who suffers arthritis, particularly in cold weather, this thing is a godsend. So this is one of my Christmas presents from Joseph. This is one of the Homedics ones. It came with the paraffin wax, and it's one of the less expensive ones. And the point of this is not to leave your hands in the paraffin wax for an extended period of time. It's to dip it into the hot wax and let the hot wax kind of soothe your hands. I'll show you guys once it's warmed up. So right now, it's full of unmelted wax. When you get it, it comes in blocks. And it takes about 6 hours. At least this one took about 6 hours to melt. It's also not insulated, so that's important to keep in mind. It takes a while for the blocks to melt down initially, but once they've melted down a few times, they've been used about 8 times now, they melt a lot quicker, so this will take about 3 hours. So by the time I'm done for the evening, this will probably be warm enough for me to show you guys what I'm talking about. What I normally do is I wash my hands before I put them in this. That helps keep the wax clean. And I do it before I take a bath because it does leave some residual oils on your hands, which if you're an artist, could get on your papers. So what I would recommend doing is either do it before you take a bath or before you're gonna wash your hands or before you go to bed at night. And it just really helps me with my arthritis pain. It kind of helps loosen up the joints. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. I am not qualified to give you any kind of medical advice, and you should definitely ask a doctor before getting one of these. And it's also going to be very much about your own preferences. Like my mom tried it out and it's too hot for her. And this one doesn't come with any kind of heat settings. It's basically either on or off, and it's either ready to use or not. I'm comfortable with the temperature, but she isn't, so it's a your mileage may vary sort of thing. If you got a friend who has one or a family member, you may want to use theirs and see if that's a good temp for you before you buy your own. But they're also not that expensive. They're about 30 bucks, and they can go higher than that. I don't really know the benefits of getting a nicer one. Joseph did the research actually, and I guess if he bought this one, it must be pretty good. So I like it. I haven't had any problems with it. We don't have kids, so I can just leave it out on the counter. I do leave it off. I just turn it on now. And this lid, if you spill it, that's not going to keep melted wax from getting everywhere, but it does keep stuff from falling into your wax. So I ended up doing a voiceover for the whole Rubens tube watercolors, and need to upload that and get that out to patrons. And other than that, just kind of chilled out and watched some TV in the living room with Bo and Joseph tonight. Apparently, our governor has contacted President Biden asking for emergency relief. Of course, the only way I find out about any of this is through next door. I wish he had a non-social media way of alerting us to these things. It's just been cold and rainy. Oh, I wanted to show you guys the hand warmer, the Parafin Wax Bath. So let's go check on it. Okay, so now you can see the ready light is on. You can also see that the paraffin has had a chance to melt. I'm gonna wash my hands and get Joseph to come hold the camera so I can demonstrate it. You don't have to turn the thing, you can just keep it. All right, so obviously you open it and then I dip it in. You can either splay your fingers or you can mitten your fingers. But the thing is, I've noticed with this is that the lower the wax gets in it, so like from multiple dips, the hotter it feels. So if you're you don't want to like splay your fingers after the initial dip because you might burn yourself. So basically you end up making those weird carnival wax hands, but it helps retain the heat for a long period of time, which people with arthritis like myself can find therapeutic. And then, you know, you go out and you creep out your husband by pretending like everything's normal and you just wave to him. Hi, Joseph. I'm dipping them kind of faster than I normally would so that, you know, I'm not just wasting y'all's time. But once you're done and it's solidified, you can just peel it off and reuse the wax. But as you can see, it does leave kind of a greasy shine. Now this one recommends you don't put like essential oil or anything into it. I don't know if that's just like Homedics recommending that or if that's common practice or what. It would be nice, like it'd smell nice to add essential oil, but I'm just gonna follow the instructions. And see, if you do it enough dips, it's thick enough that you can just peel it off. And it's supposed to be moisturizing for your hands too, although I guess paraffin's a lot like petroleum jelly, because aren't they both like, paraffin's like a kerosene product, isn't it? Joseph doesn't know. Anyway, yeah, it's been good for my arthritis, but like I said, I'd recommend talking to a doctor before, especially if you've got like an underlying health condition. I have arthritis because I abuse my hands, but if you have like fibromyalgia or lupus or something that can also cause arthritis, I'd talk to a doctor before doing this, because they probably can think of some complications that might arise that me, not being a medical health professional, wouldn't be able to point out. So usually I cover it and then I turn it off when I'm done with it, but I'm gonna dip my hands again, I think, after I take a bath. And I found it to be really helpful, especially, you know, after you've been drawing and it's cold out and like your hand locks up. This can be really good for just... Hey y'all, good morning. It is Thursday, so I have Art Squad this evening, and I'm hoping between now and then I can make some progress on the MeiLiang review. I need to do the lift test, and I also need to start the mud test. I'm going to try to do 3 layers of mud on this. I think it will turn to mud, but we'll see. I want to think about how to say this. I had it and then I lost it because ADHD is awesome. So my heart continues to go out to Texas. From what I've heard, they are, a lot of people are going to be without power continuing into this weekend, which is crazy and disheartening and heartbreaking to think about, because they've already been without power so long. Like, it's not getting better for them, and it's very frustrating to see people, especially people who whose books I used to really enjoy, make this 100% about politics. I've lived in the South my whole life, from Louisiana to Georgia to Tennessee, and if there's one thing I know about living in the South, is there is a lot of gerrymandering and a lot of voter suppression going on. Like, let's use Tennessee as an example. So I moved there years ago, and within a month of moving in there, I applied for my voter's registration. So I applied for my voter's registration in like September, and I couldn't vote in that election because I didn't apply early enough, because they need 2 months to process your voter's reg. Whereas in Louisiana, I put it, and I'm not saying Louisiana is better, I'm just saying it was a stark contrast. I put in, and they were like, yeah, if today was a vote, because I was like, how long until I can vote? Like, can I vote in this upcoming election? Because I put it in August, and they were like, oh no, if there were an election today, you could vote today. So that's just one example of voter suppression that people don't think about, is like these crazy long voter registration times, or systems kicking out your registration, so you have to check and check and check and check and check, or lack of mail-in. Down here, mail-in is way, I heard that like up north, like in Washington, you can just decide to mail in. You don't have to have a reason. Down here, you have to have like a crazy valid reason, because otherwise they expect you at the polls or you don't get to vote. And that's stuff I think people who don't live down here don't know about, and they don't think about. And it's very frustrating and disheartening to see people from other states talk about southern states like they know, like they've lived down here, and make judgment calls against a huge population of people that they don't know and they haven't met, especially when these sort of policies are often brought into place by one group of people and negatively affect a totally different group of people. The people who voted against said policies are usually the ones down here who have to pay the penalty. So I have spent a lot of time trying to tell you guys why I love Louisiana, and that's not a reason I don't love that about Louisiana. I hate that about Louisiana, and that's one of the reasons I came back, because I wanted to help make a difference. I think eliminating or rectifying gerrymandering serves people across a spread of political beliefs, because if you really believe in one voice, one vote, if you really believe your vote should count, then you should find gerrymandering abhorrent. So it's really disgusting to see people talk like that, like they know, and cast judgment and not do anything to help or do anything to spread information. And I also want to say there's been a lot of people from up north who have been sharing really useful information, and they're trying to help and they're trying to make the situation better. And even though I'm not currently in that situation, I really want to thank them for that, because that actually enables people to do something to make their situation even a little bit better. It enables them to get through what they're going through. Even just the advice of don't run your car in the garage for warmth because you'll die of CO2 poisoning is helpful, because not everybody knows that. So I'm talking about this because I've got a lot of family in Texas. I have a lot of friends in Texas. I mean, when you live in Louisiana, you've got close ties to Texas, and you've got close ties to Mississippi, and you care about what happens to people in those states, because even if they're not related, they're still your family in your heart, you know? So of course I'm thinking about it. Of course it's on my mind. And of course I'm worrying about people, and I don't want to like just bug them, you know, if they only have a little bit of battery on their phone. I don't want my call to kill their phone and they can't get to emergency services. But I've been trying to share resources as much as possible over on my Twitter, just in case, because I don't know about everybody else, but I have like a bunch of battery backups for my phone. And if we were to lose electricity, I could get through a week with my phone. Like, I might be frozen, I might be a bicycle, but my phone would have a charge because I have a bunch of power banks. And I know increasingly with natural disasters in this country, people are reliant on their phones for information, for help, for emergency contacts. So I imagine some people are able to check their Twitter and check their social media for help. So I've been trying to share resources. And I mentioned that earlier, but it reminds me of Hurricane Harvey. That one was also very close to my heart, because I've talked about hurricanes here in Louisiana. I've talked about Katrina, and I've talked about having family members who are affected by these events. And it was disheartening to see people online just kind of brush that hurricane under the rug like it didn't even matter to them. Or Hurricane Laura, like it doesn't matter. Like what happens in the South, like people in general don't care unless they're casting judgment. And I want to help change that, and I want to help do what I can to help bridge that gap. So anyway, that's really been on my mind, and it's probably going to continue to be on my mind until their power is back on. I know like 30 people have died during this winter storm from, I think, dying of like hypothermia or lack of electricity. So like if they were on like a ventilator, or if they were on like my brain is just not right now. Anyway, there's reasons people die without electricity. So my heart goes out to them, and you know, just be kind. Like, you don't have to say anything. I get that some people just don't care, but just be kind, and you know, take some advice from Thumper. If you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all, especially if you wield a huge amount of influence. Stephen King. To me, that's not really being a caring person. Like, the people you're lecturing to about this are in agreement with you, but they're the ones suffering. So, like, they really don't need to hear you judge them, because they weren't the ones who chose this. They were trying to fight for something different. So, anyway, it's so weird when something like that is going on. And it was like this for COVID too, for me, for the first few months. Like, it's so weird to know, like, just one state over, like not even a full state, because Northwest Louisiana is suffering too right now. Not even a state away, a lot of people are suffering. I don't know that there's anything we can really do other than send them money and try to share resources. But yet, it's a normal work day for me, and I need to work, and I need to focus on work. When it's really hard for me to do that, because I am worried about people and thinking about that. And it's just hard to get your head in a good headspace for work when you're also, I don't compartmentalize well. And that's probably a lot of my problems, and a lot of my focus problems also come from like I can't compartmentalize. So anyway, I started this day off still feeling under the weather, so I took some Mucinex, feeling better but not great, but better. And I did a little bit of writing on chapter 9. Didn't make as much progress as I've made in days past, but that's okay. 30 minutes of progress is good. Progress every day is good. We're building up momentum. We're building back up the chain. It's going to get easier. It's like pushing a rock uphill. Eventually you hit the pinnacle and it just can coast. You just have to guide it. So that's my advice for anybody who's working on a long project. It's very easy to get worn out halfway through too, because there's a lot of excitement at the beginning and there's a lot of excitement at the end, but the middle is this ocean of you have to keep yourself excited. And fortunately I am excited about this chapter, but I do want to try and put reins back on it so that it doesn't just get away from me. I have a tendency to write really long chapters, and I don't mind drawing them, but you know, then they're really long and they make the books long, and I don't know. I feel like it just makes it harder to grasp, I guess, as a reader. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. Do you like long comic chapters? Do you not like long comic chapters? I mean, I'm updating a page a week, so the length of the chapter doesn't really matter. I could literally not have chapters, and I don't know how much it would matter, but I do have an archive where they're organized by chapters, so in that instance it matters. But if I was doing chapter drops, having long chapters would be not good for me. Great for y'all, not good for me. So I'm just trying to put the reins on this chapter, because while it's an important chapter and you learn a lot about Lilliputian life and you learn about how other Lilliputians live, and you learn that Kara's upbringing is not really typical. It's not like a super plot-focused one, but it does drive the story. So, like I said yesterday, it's a balancing act. And I didn't even do any drawing this morning. I was just kind of like sitting there fuzzy-headed trying to write. So maybe I'll get some good writing in this evening after Art Squad, and hopefully I'm feeling energized and pumped up. That's another thing, you know, when you're worried about people you care about and they're kind of far away. And this was hard for me when I lived in Tennessee, because my immediate family had some health issues and it was really stressful, and I was always juggling, like, should I fly back? Should I fly back to help? Can I fly back to help? Is that reasonable? Would I actually be helping if I flew back? Being an adult is hard. And during COVID, being an adult there is not much fun about. The fun parts are playing Nintendo Switch, eating popsicles in bed, and indulging in buying paint. That's the fun parts of being an adult right now. So enjoy your childhood. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get rolling with this, because it is getting later and Art Squad is at 6 and I need to be able to have my desk clear. And hopefully today can become a better day. Art Squad went well today. We had 5 kiddos, and it was super cute because a younger brother decided to join his older sister and draw along, and it was just so cute. So today we drew us some woofs, we drew some wolves, and we also talked about drawing cartoony and anime faces. And with Art Squad, I try not to go into teacher mode too much because I don't want to lose them, because kind of the point is for it to be relaxing and we're drawing together, but they seem to have a pretty good time. And next time we meet, we're going to be drawing rabbits and we're going to be talking about drawing hair. So hopefully we can just kind of keep building on this. But you know, today I was feeling, and I feel like I say this every time there's an art squad, I was feeling kind of bummed. I didn't want to do it, and then we did it, and I had a good time, and the kids were really cute, and it got me all pumped up. But I mean, that is the case. And also this week, I think, has just been a lot. For everybody I know, it's been a lot. So it was nice to be able to just kind of be able to escape that, because sometimes I can't make myself escape stuff. I can't get myself in a good mental headspace, but other people's influence helps me get into a better headspace, and they did that for me today, and I'm really appreciative of it. So I think Art Squad might be better for me than it is for the kids, because I definitely get a lot out of it, but I hope they feel like they're getting something out of it, even if it's just some companionship and hanging out and drawing, because that's good enough. So, working on cooking dinner. Something smells kind of funky. Doing the dishes and working on penciling something today. Otherwise, pretty, I guess, low-key day, pretty chill day. Went to go get crickets, and they had just sold out of them. So, hopefully I can get some before this weekend, because I'm sure Cleo would, I'm sure Cleo would like a snack. I'm sure she'd like to eat. I'm going to show the kiddos Cleo on the 18th, because the 18th is the day before my birthday. And I was like, I'm going to make y'all draw reptiles. So I think we're going to draw some alligators, but I think they'd get a kick out of seeing my leopard gecko. Although she likes Joseph better than she and I don't spend a lot of time together, but she seems to like Joseph, so. What is that smell? I mean, y'all can't smell it. It smells like farts. Hey guys, happy Friday. Not that days matter anymore. Speaking of days not mattering anymore, I totally forgot to schedule my webcomic last night because I don't know why. So it was supposed to go live at noon. It's 2 now. Guess I'm gonna fix it. And we're scheduling the next page of chapter 7. And I'm currently writing chapter 9. I wonder if I'm gonna have to go on another hiatus, or if I can finish chapter 9 before I finish chapter 8. Chapter 8's done. I meant finish uploading chapter 8. It goes live today. I like a fairly sizable buffer, so I don't mind scheduling my comic. It's not like it causes all this anxiety. I forget. I can schedule in advance with the Drupal site, but with the Tumblr mirror, I can't. So in order to remember the Tumblr, I just try to remember to schedule them both at the same time. And that's how we have days like today happening. Y'all need to remind me when I've forgotten to update. Come on, y'all. Watching somebody schedule their webcomic is super exciting. It's so exciting. It's so exciting. And I've mentioned this like a million times, but if it weren't for painting Kara, if it weren't for Kara, I would not be interested in I like watercolor, but I wouldn't be doing all the stuff I do with watercolor here on the channel. So it's thanks to Kara. So if you haven't read it, please read it. Speaking of though, if you are interested in learning how to make your own comics, I have like 1 million tutorials here on the channel that will teach you how to do just that. You can check out my Intro to Comic Craft playlist, or like one of the million sub-playlists I have on different topics. And I'm kind of deciding whether or not I want to record any tutorials when I'm doing chapter 9. I'm sure I'll do them as vlogs, and I'm sure I'll find ways to talk about them like that. And that might be more productive anyway, because then I'm not rehashing the same old stuff that I feel like I've probably rehashed a bunch of times, and I can just link those relevant videos. Yes, I'll just do them as part of the weekly vlogs. Alright, now it's up. For what it's worth, check it out, please. Other than scheduling the comic, there was something else I wanted to do and I don't remember. I'm sure it'll come to me. Haven't had coffee this morning. Did have milk tea, but still not fully caffeinated. So the old brain box is still not working at 100%. But basically, the weather is cold but pretty. So let me show you guys. It's not even actually that cold. It's like 46. I'm out in a flannel shirt and jeans and I'm barefoot and it's not that bad. A little windy, but the sun is out. So that makes a huge difference. Actually kind of a pretty day. And considering the weather has just been so gross, so awful for the past week, I think it's not surprising that I want to do anything other than be cooped up inside. But on that note, I know big swaths of Texas are still going to be without power until this weekend. When this is released, if y'all are watching this, if you're not in Texas and you're able to donate some money to one of the many, I don't want to say charities, but many resources set up, like warming stations, or people have been running food, stuff like that. I will try to remember to link them in the description. I've been sharing them on my Twitter, so they're kind of at the top of my Twitter right now anyway. But if you could find it in your hearts to be generous and look out for people who are suffering right now, it would really mean a lot to me. So, scheduled Kara, want to do another layer of mud on the MeiLiang Unbox and Swatch. Need to schedule the Sweetheart Girl marker illustration for tomorrow. So this will actually be available after that is available, so that's cool. Maybe want to stretch some watercolors, and I kind of want to start, if I can, the Paul Rubens Fieldtest, mostly because it's an illustration I really like, and I just want to get to painting it, and the weather is finally nice enough for me to do that. But I would also like to get out of the house, so we'll see what happens today. This is day 2, layer 2 of the MeiLiang pigment test. So basically just trying to get this thing to make mud. And this is a continuation of kind of the ongoing unbox and swatch for this. So I will have the full video out eventually. But I think it's kind of cool to share with you guys the process so you guys can see it does take multiple days and kind of what goes into it. And today I finally started the field test for the Paul Rubens tubins. I literally just scheduled the unbox and swatch to go live for my patrons today. So it's cool to be able to start the field test. And I've been really looking forward to it because I had so much fun with this palette. So for this, I'm just kind of trying to paint the background. I want to capture the look of pond water. So I'm going to apply several layers to this. But I hope you guys will keep an eye out for the unbox and swatch as well as for the full field test. It's cool to be able to share with you guys sort of the progress of how this comes together. And the first layer was taking so long to dry, I turned the fan on to help it. And then every layer after that dried way too quick. So when it's cold out, it really messes with the humidity, even in Louisiana. Hey guys, so I'm taking a break from art, not entirely for tonight, but for right now, and I'm gonna cook some red beans and rice. So I'm gonna show you the way I do it. Joseph does it differently. My mom does it differently. I think most Louisianians have their own way of doing red beans and rice. That doesn't make it wrong. There's just a bunch of different ways to do it. So already in the pot, and I wouldn't do this, but Joseph is defrosting the sausages for me. So already in the pot are some sausage links. These are smoked andouille sausage links. I'm gonna cut them up into coins in a second. But the other main ingredient you're gonna need, other than your rice, and my rice is actually cooking in a rice cooker right now. For many years, my mom would not joke that I couldn't get married if I didn't know how to cook rice on a stove. I do know how to cook rice on a stove. I just don't like doing it because rice cookers are so much more convenient. But the other 2 ingredients you really need for red beans and rice are your beans. So down here you can get Blue Runner, Creole cream style red beans. So basically they've been kind of creamed for you. That's if you like Popeye style red beans. Joseph wants some like actual beans in his red beans, and that's fine. I'm flexible. I can go either way. So I also have a can of light red kidney beans. Different people swear by different brands. I'm also, Joseph can't have like straight up onions, which I normally would add. So I'm going to be using dehydrated onions. Let me adjust the camera actually so you guys can see. And I'm not this isn't like a cooking tutorial. I'm not pretending like I'm gonna show y'all how to cook, although I do, and I talk about it all the time, I do want to do a comic cookbook aimed at younger chefs and their guardians, showing them some of my favorite Louisiana recipes, because my family's been here about forever. So I figured it'd be cool to do a comic style cookbook on that. But anyway, so dehydrated onions, dehydrated bell pepper. If I'm gonna use dehydrated onions, I might as well do dehydrated bell pepper, garlic powder. I'm gonna use some hot sauce. So I've got some Tabasco, some smoked paprika. I'm gonna put in some sun-dried tomatoes. And then it kind of depends on what you want. Some people put dried parsley in it, but that's like the basics for pretty simple red beans and rice. Now, what's nice about red beans and rice is it is very economical. You can feed a lot of people with it. It's great for leftovers. It tastes better. Every day it sits in the fridge. You can freeze it if you really want to. You can do it real cheap with just a little bitty bit of meat and a lot of beans and a lot of rice, and you can feed a lot of people that way. If you're using canned beans, it really really doesn't take that long. The longest thing is going to be the rice, and that's already ready. So this is a great recipe, and different cultures have similar variations on this, like frijoles and rice. You know, red beans and rice is just like our poor food, but beans and rice is a staple for lots of people. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and cut my sausage into coins. Now, since I'm working with dehydrated ingredients, you can add them in and they will rehydrate as they cook, but I find that it takes forever, and then I end up with like bites of onion that are like grossly hard. My mom works with frozen for this. I generally would prefer to work with fresh, but what's nice about dehydrated is it doesn't upset Joseph's acid reflux. So, you know, you get the flavor without somebody getting sick over it. So what I want to do, and I eyeball this honestly, which, you know, I guess I'm going to go for like, see, if I were doing this from fresh, I would do just a whole onion, or 2 shallots, but I'm eyeballing it. So I'm going to do, I guess it's a half cup dehydrated, and then just a bunch of dehydrated bell pepper. And I don't have to do dehydrated bell pepper, I could do fresh. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to obviously add some water to it, and then I'm going to microwave it for 30 seconds, and that's going to help it start to rehydrate, because I want to cook this with the sausage so that you get like a fond on the bottom of the pan, and that's going to add more flavor. Now, I want to add some sun-dried tomatoes, because that's going to add, you know, more flavor and more depth. I'm not going to bother cutting them. I'm just going to use a pair of kitchen shears and slice them up pretty fine. When I'm cooking, I'm always looking to use things that add a lot of flavor, because I like really flavorful things. I like strongly flavored things, so I like things that are really salty or really sweet or really spicy or really smoky. So I'm always looking to add that kind of stuff to my cooking. And while I cut those, I'm going to go ahead and let my onions and my bell peppers just kind of soak up the water and reconstitute. And you can tell I don't have a kitchen set up for YouTube by any shakes. This is a rental, and even if we own the place, I don't want to be doing cooking videos on YouTube necessarily. I'd rather be drawn. But I do like to eat, and in Louisiana, if you like to eat, you often learn how to cook. And when you're broke, you definitely learn how to cook if you like to eat. So I learned how to cook. So I sacrificed a little bit of my counter space for the camera, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add my smoked sausage to the pot. And this is smoked, so you don't have to cook it forever. You're not trying to cook it, but you might want to render out some of the fat. You might want to get some browning on the bottom of the pot. I'm a big fan of using wooden utensils. I think the food just tastes better. So I'm going to start by on a low setting, getting my sausage going. And I'm still kind of waiting on these to reconstitute. I think 30 minutes is usually pretty valid for that. And I want to strain out some of the liquid, but I still want to reserve that liquid because I'm going to be adding it in later. This is full of like the liquid, and the same goes when you reconstitute shiitake mushrooms. It's going to be full of flavor, so I want to use that flavor as I go. And I also pulled out some Tony Chachere's. I've heard some people call it Tony Chachere's, and I'm like, I grew up with it being Tony Chachere's. You probably can't find this where you're at, and I apologize for that. I could not find it when I lived in Savannah. I definitely could not find it when I lived in Nashville, but you can probably order it online. And see down here, I can get it at Walmart if I want to. I'm also going to use some cayenne. I'm going to use a little bit of celery salt. I'm going to use some smoked paprika, which goes in like everything I cook, and I'm going to use some garlic powder. And once this is going, I'm going to add those to the pot. Now I have a cat who thinks he needs to help himself. So if we're gonna leave something unattended, I gotta cover it, because otherwise I might come back to Bowie inserting himself into the red beans. Go ahead and pull out my disgusting can opener for the beans. Now some folks drain their beans like with the kidney beans. You can do that. I do that. I don't want to keep the liquid. It kind of grosses me out. If you're using Creole cream style, which is like mashed, based Popeye style, mashed red beans, don't drain it because you want all that in there. But like when I'm cooking, if I'm adding liquid, I want to add flavor. So, you know, bean juice isn't really flavor. So I would rather use like broth if I have it, or better than bouillon, or this liquid here rather than, you know, bean juice. All right, we got the beautiful sound and smell of sausage sizzling. I'm gonna show you guys. Yeah, oh, it smells so good. I mean, this makes up for last night with Bo. All right, so at this point, I want to add in my spices, and then I want to drain my vegetables and add those in there. I don't want to add a bunch of water because you see I got some delicious browning going on, and I want to encourage that because that's flavor that's going to go into the beans. So I'll start with the spices, and I got to turn on the fan. I'm sorry. It's going to be loud because basically when Tony's gets all activated and aerosolized. Oh, this is a new can of Tony's. It makes it hard to breathe. Ooh, that's gonna make me sneeze. So that's the Tony's, some garlic powder, some cayenne pepper. And this is, you know, some people think this is spicy, so if you've never used it, you want to be careful with it. Some celery salt. And some smoked paprika. I'm going to let it just activate in the grease from the salt. Oh, that almost did a lot. I'm going to let it activate in the grease from the sausage while I drain the vegetables. Smells super good. Actually, I'll give it a quick stir because I don't want it to burn. It's gonna make me sneeze, even though I turned on the loud fan. And there isn't, I don't have a small strainer. I don't have an elegant way to do this. So this will just have to work for right now. And I also want to press out some of that excess moisture. And honestly, this is something y'all could do at home. Like with the andouille, I was able to find andouille sausage in Nashville. You can probably find it further up north. Add those in. See, we got all this delicious looking broth down there. And give that stir. I'm also going to go ahead and add in my sun-dried tomatoes and give them a chance to hydrate too. And then we just want to let it cook down some. I mean, it's coming from dehydrated, so it's not going to cook down a whole lot. And this is a good chance to kind of clean up our mess as we go too. So people talk about good meals for college students. I'm iffy on this one. When I was in college at UNO, it was right after Katrina, so we had no kitchens, we weren't allowed hot plates, we weren't allowed electric skillets, or basically anything other than a microwave to cook. Like literally everyone I knew broke the rules except for me, because my RA was always in our room for some reason, and I wasn't cool with that. But like I dated a guy who they broke the rules all over the place, but it wasn't Joseph. He's a pretty good guy. Anyway, this is a good meal for college students in that it is affordable and you can make a lot of food. It's not a good meal for college students if you don't have access to a stove or even a hot plate. Because yeah, you could do this on a hot plate. You could even do it in an electric skillet probably. But that's why I'm always kind of weird about like good meals for college kids, because it's like you're making a lot of assumptions about what they're going to have access to and whether or not they even have access to a fridge, because I didn't. Yay, go UNO, that's my alma mater, and they're always hitting me up for money, and I'm always like, no. So anyway, I'm going to let this cook for a little bit. I want my vegetables to soften a little bit more. I have my reserved liquid. I can also add in better than bouillon if I want to with some water. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is, I don't have a can opener I want for this, because normally what I would do with beans is I'd pop a hole using like a pull tab and let it drain and then add it. But I guess you could, no, you cannot with this one. So I got another trick for that. Not as good, but you can use the lid as a strainer. Now I like the poking a hole in the lid and just sitting it on like this divider and letting it drain itself, because you don't have to babysit it and you don't have to worry about beans spilling out and stuff. But this will work. They even make can strainers, and I just think those are the dumbest things. So red beans and rice, like gumbo, are one of those things where the longer you can let them cook, the better they're probably going to taste. Oh yeah, we're getting some fond on the bottom now. Good. That is flavor, and we want that. So I guess I'm just going to let I don't want it to burn. So I'm going to set it a little lower and just let it go for like 10 minutes before we move on to our next steps. But, oh, of course, you don't want to forget your salt and pepper. I don't even know what I was thinking. Making a big old mess and y'all can't even see. It's not great. And of course, depending on your andouille sausage, some of them are kind of salty, so some of them You don't need to salt too much. Okay, so it's been 10 minutes. Gonna just turn off the kitchen timer, or try to. Come on, off, thank you. I hate that kitchen timer. Let's take a look at what we got. All right. Smells good. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do, I gotta put this down because I can't do this no-handed basically, is I'm gonna add that liquid from earlier. Okay, so our reserved liquid. And I'm gonna scrub the bottom of the pot so that I can get that pond. I'm also gonna turn up the heat. And turn off the fan because I know that's obnoxious. I'm also going to take a little taste because I want to see whether or not those onions and bell peppers have actually rehydrated or if they're still hard and kind of gross. So go ahead and open our cream style red beans. So that's what they look like. They kind of look like refried beans. And they're kind of the same consistency as refried beans, so just different type of bean, I think. Let me show you what we're looking at. Could turn it down a little. Now the thing is, Joseph and I are both pretty good cooks, but we both cook by taste, and it can be a little bit hard to give a recipe to somebody cooking by taste. So when I'm working on recipes for the Little Louisiana Cookbook, I will record myself, and then I go back and watch for amounts. Still a little hard. Spicy though. Spice level's good. I think this could actually do with some more liquid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some water and some better than bouillon. And I'm so sorry about the, let's see if that helps any. Soylently. All right, so what I got is I have vegetable base. I have chicken base. Either would be good. I'm going to do vegetable base since, you know, red beans and rice. So this is so much better than bouillon cubes. Any recipe that says use, or anybody who says use a bouillon cube, use this. So much tastier. Another pretty common thing is to have, or at least common in my family, Joseph. Did you guys have cornbread when you'd have red beans? Rarely. Was that a thing though? Like, yeah, restaurants do. Okay, I just wanted to double check because he's actually, huh? School did it, yeah. We're actually from different regions in Louisiana. Not drastically different, but I'm from closer to New Orleans and he's from closer to Baton Rouge. And I can't get this open. So sometimes what they'll do in one area is different from what they'll do in another. That is so much easier than stirring. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and add this, and I've already let so much liquid evaporate out. So one of the things you want to be careful about is pretty much every better than bouillon is super salty. So it adds a lot of flavor, but you may want to wait until the end to go ahead and add your salt. Because we might end up with a salt lick tonight, y'all. Okay. that's pretty good. I'll show you guys what it looks like. So now I'm gonna go ahead and add in my beans. So we got our whole kidney beans, and this is gonna be all about your preferences, like how many cans you add, what ratio you add. It's kind of all up to you and what you find that you like, or what you got available. Y'all probably don't have the ginormous cans of Creole style. And look, it is so much like refried beans because they've already been pre-mashed, and they actually have vegetables in them, like bell pepper and probably some onion. I mean, honestly, you could probably just get away with reheating a can of it and call it a day, but I told you guys, I'm all about more flavor, more flavor, more flavor. We're gonna go ahead and give it a stir. You can actually make this into a soup if you want to, just add more liquid. That's a good way to make it kind of stretch if you're feeding a lot of people and you're on a budget. So I'm gonna let the Creole cream style kind of warm up, give us a good idea as to how liquidy it's gonna be and whether or not we want to add some more liquid or if we're good. I am gonna add some hot sauce in a minute though. So I'm gonna cover it because I don't want to lose more liquid because it's already a little stodgy. And I'm gonna go ahead and kind of clean up the mess that I've made. Okay, so it's been 5 minutes. I just want to check and make sure the liquid level is good on this. So the thing about canned beans is you're mostly just warming them up, and with andouille sausage, we're mostly just warming it up. So that's one of the things that makes this a really easy meal, is as long as you cook it for longer than 10 minutes, you should be good, if you can get the rice down. So it's looking a little stodgy to me. I'm gonna add a little bit of liquid, and then I'm just gonna let it cook for a little while. Probably 30 minutes. I mean, you could let it go if you want to. This used to be what was known. So red beans and rice used to be a Monday meal, and that was because the women could cook red beans and rice for a long period of time while they're also doing their wash. It is not Monday, but that's okay. Still hit the spot. And just in case you were wondering, this was our jar from earlier that I used to mix up the better than bouillon. It was sitting at the top of the sink. I did my dishes before I had y'all come over, so y'all wouldn't have to see my dirty sink. And I'm probably gonna do my dishes, get them in the dishwasher while this is cooking. Although normally Joseph and I take turns, whoever cooks doesn't have to do the dishes, it's the other person, and that works fairly well. I can't do anything else right now because I'm using my camera for this, so might as well do the dishes. Now, something that I didn't do that I should have done, but I'd already thrown it in the trash, is I should have rinsed out the bean can and used that water in here, because you'll get those last little bits and scraps out of it. I didn't because I was so busy being distracted recording, but that's usually something people do. I guess it's a little more economical, a little less food waste. And something else I was thinking about is that in general, this recipe is... So the only thing in this recipe that absolutely needs to be refrigerated is probably the andouille sausage. And the thing about andouille is it's smoked. So if you were camping or something, you could bring it in an ice chest, no problem. So this could be a good meal for camping. It could be a good meal for, like, I know some people when they do conventions will bring a hot plate and they'll bring their rice cooker and they'll bring like all the stuff because they have figured out how to do cons on a budget and nothing. But if I'm doing all that traveling and I'm working a con all day, I am not cooking a meal in my hotel room. I'm just not. That's not me. But that could also work. You could do red beans and rice, you know, because like one pot and a cutting board and a microwave, but you don't have to use a microwave. It's not all that complicated. Now I set this for 15 minutes. And give it a stir, because you don't want it to burn at the bottom of the pot. And I'm really fortunate to be cooking on gas. I actually greatly prefer cooking on gas. When I lived in Nashville, it was an electric cooktop and it was slanted, so you'd get real bad hot spots, and I hated that thing. But this is gas, and I grew up cooking on gas. My mom has a gas stove, so that's what I'm used to. I don't really care for electric, but you use what you got. So anyway, I'm going to stir this every so often, just so that it doesn't burn at the bottom. But other than that, it's pretty much ready to eat. Now, like I said earlier, the longer you let it cook, the better it's going to taste. And also, like, don't worry guys, I'm not doing cooking videos. Like, this isn't a cooking channel, but I thought it'd be cool to show you guys a really, really easy Louisiana dish, really common. Everybody knows about red beans and rice. It's really pretty easy. It's very cheap, so it's like great artist dish. You could probably cook it in a hot pot, not hot pot, crock pot, no problem. Might even have fewer problems with the with burning. So if your dorm allows for crock pots, mine did not. Could be a good dish for that. And this is something I grew up eating, Joseph grew up eating. It was like one of 3 things I'd eat from the school cafeteria because their food was in general gross. But if they were cooking Louisiana stuff, it was usually pretty good. I'll probably also show you guys how I cook gumbo. Not that it is like the best gumbo recipe ever, but gumbo is a surprisingly easy dish, and people get it wrong a lot because they think it is something it isn't. I had sour gumbo in Nashville one time, and the waitress wanted to argue with me that that's how it's supposed to taste, and that the chef's from New Orleans, so he knows what gumbo is supposed to taste like, and it's like, really? Really? Not supposed to be sour. So this is what we're looking at right now. It's about the consistency of red bean soup, like I said. You can add extra water, or you could add chicken stock or whatever you have to kind of stretch it out some, especially if you're feeding more people. You can also let it kind of reduce a little bit, cook with the top, with the lid off, and it'll kind of condense and it won't be so soupy. I like it soupy. Joseph, you like it soupy or no? You like it somewhere in between? Yeah. So again, red beans is pretty much as different. People's household red beans and rice is as different from one another as people are from one another. A lot of different ways you can do red beans and rice. All right, so basically done, but it is important to taste your food. Duh. I like how as soon as I hit record, the heater kicks on because it just needs to be right this second. So I want to make sure I also get some of those vegetables because they were super dehydrated, and I want to make sure that they're not just like hard little nuggets. And I'm also tasting for salt, I'm tasting for flavor. Oh, I never added my hot sauce in. Tasting for spice. Hot. It's definitely going to be better on the second day when the flavors kind of melt together a little bit more. Beans could go longer. Of course, Bowie's going to act up in the background. Always. So what I want to do is I'm going to add some of that Tabasco. And this is a not for everyone kind of thing. And that's going to add a little bit of acidity. But otherwise, I think it's ready to eat for a Friday night meal. I think we're on a good place. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this plated up, and we'll have some dinner. Yes, my beautiful, luxurious for YouTube kitchen where I never cook, and it is literally just for recording. Alright, so usually red beans and rice is served with white rice. Joseph fixed the rice for me. He went with brown. Brown's a healthier option anyway. A lot of people down here have diabetes, so, you know, eating healthier. I say that, and yet I'm thinking about being like, let's go get beignets for tonight. So, you know, I'm just offsetting my beignets. Are you very hungry or just a little hungry? You're pretty hungry? Okay. These are not my plates. They're the landlady's plates, so if you think they are cute, couldn't even tell you. I did not make cornbread tonight. I used Jiffy cornbread and just follow the instructions. There's literally nothing fancy about my cornbread. Do you guys think in 30 years everybody's like living spaces are going to be designed for recording and not actually for living? Now the way some people do it is they will leave their sausage as like a big old sausage link and have that on the side. I always liked my sausage kind of mixed in with my red beans and rice to give it flavor. And I think I did too much onions and bell pepper with this. So next time I do it, I need to not do a whole cup. See, this is what makes it different. Cooking from dehydrated, in my opinion, is a little more difficult because it's harder for me to keep the ratios in mind. The red beans were pretty good, but not enough sausage. I thought there was too much dehydrated onions still, and there wasn't a good ratio of rice to beans. So next time I do it, I'm going to do way more sausage and not so much onion. We are going to go get some beignets. Come on, let's go. So for my friends who don't know, beignets are pillowy billows of fried dough with powdered sugar, and kind of like red beans. I think most cultures have like some variation of beignets. Like I was on Twitter and this girl I follow was making this big old deal about this like Polish thing, and then I see it and it's like, oh, those are beignets. I mean, they're not beignets, but you know what I mean. I think every culture has like a sweet dough biscuit dessert kind of thing. And if you're not familiar with beignets, I think one of my earlier art vlogs, I have them and tell you guys about them. But if you can, I'd highly recommend trying them out. Although, frankly, sopapillas, if you can get them, very, very, very close. I like those a lot too. They're hard to find here. There used to be a place called Ponchos that did them. I don't think anybody around here does them anymore. But those are very similar to beignets except with honey. And basically this is it for the night. I didn't spend the rest of the night painting, but we ended up watching more of Hillbilly Elegy, and Joseph's doing DDR, and I'm about to just call it a night and read some Poirot. Poirot. Now I'm not gonna be able to say it right, in the bathtub and just kind of chill out and try to stay warm. So I hope you guys have a good evening. guys, good afternoon and happy Saturday. So I actually need to switch my desk over so that I can do the third layer of mud with our MeiLiang pigment set. So that means I gotta move the ongoing Paul Rubens set, or review, sorry. And I desperately want a larger work surface. Mostly so that I don't have to like cramp everything up on top of itself, because this is not really the best way for me to work. Though I know people work in smaller spaces, and when I was younger, I used to have to work on the floor of my bedroom if I was lucky, on my lap. Like, that was my workspace. I spent a lot of time going to family member doctor's appointments as a kid, so I spent a lot of time in the car, because in Louisiana, ain't nothing close. So 40 minutes there, 40 minutes back, if you're lucky, and then sitting in a waiting room. So I used to work straight out of a clipboard for a long time. So I know comparatively I have it pretty good, but I would still like more viable workspace. So I went to the local pet store to buy crickets for Cleo. Alright, so we're gonna head over to Laplace to try and find some crickets for Cleo. So when I lived in Nashville, winter storms killing all the crickets, ruining the shipments of crickets, that wasn't unusual, but that happened in like 10-degree weather. Louisiana, come on, like we were hit, okay, yeah, but not like Texas, you know, like we could buy crickets from ourselves, or from Mississippi, or from Alabama. I don't understand, but you know, I don't really like Northerners giving Southerners a hard time for not understanding how to deal with winter weather, so I'll just accept that this is a thing that happened and I don't have all the information. So before we leave, I want to do that third layer of mud using the pretty excellent Parrot watercolors, or MeiLiang pigments according to Google Translate. And that way when we get back, I can actually work on the bigger Paul Rubens Fieldtest. But it's a really beautiful day out today. The sun is shining, the sky is blue, and I really don't feel like working, because every day I say I don't feel like working, I end up putting in 8 hours, and I would really like to not, but I'm also not feeling super great because all the weather fluctuations wreaks havoc with like my asthma and with my migraines. So it's like I want to have low-key fun.
Now see, this is the source of Tony's. Guess y'all can guess where I am. The one place I'm always at.
This is a different one now. Oh, okay. They got their cake stuff and their art supplies together.
It's definitely a realistic depiction of what.
Which marker pad?
At the bottom?
This one?
Yeah.
I mean, that's about how I drew.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's actually
Yeah,
a
it
realistic
actually
depiction of
depicts.
what someone is probably going to
Yeah.
make with that product.
I appreciate that. Mostly I'm just seeing Crayolas, though I'm not really seeing, different Walmarts have different things, so. Oh, hey, they've got the alcohol-based blending markers.
Stuff further up. There's Elmer's further up.
Yeah. Well, the air sprayer. The thing I actually kind of liked.
Late A is further up.
Paint and pour set. Oh, it's a Crayola one. And slime. So much glue for so much slime. Oh, and alcohol markers. They're all just kind of crammed in here. Like if you're looking for something, it'd be hard to find it. You have to kind of know what you're looking for. These are kind of neat. These are liquid and they have the fill lines on them. This is the first time I've ever seen these at Walmart, and that's not really a bad price either. If I really wanted to capture Louisiana, I need to capture this truck ahead of us. Not the one in front of us, but that black truck with the raised front wheels making a whole lot of noise to go a whole lot of nowhere. It's a Louisiana song. That truck, it is so round. It is Louisiana song. Nice getting out of the house. I've been going so stir crazy lately, and then what with the bad weather all last week, and now it's finally pretty. Oh, it's hard to get me to even sit still. So it was nice getting out, if only for a little while. That Walmart was weird though. Every Walmart is different, and I know some of y'all rolling your eyes real hard, but like when you don't have a lot of options, when you kind of live out in the sticks, you take what you can get. And that one's art section was kind of a mess. Every Walmart's different. So, I already did the mud test. So now I need to get myself reset back up to work on the Paul Rubens test. It's kind of long, okay. Lucky I don't have to share a table with somebody, because like if I get annoyed just having to take stuff down to switch projects, you can imagine how frustrated I would be having to switch because I'm sharing with somebody else. we're back to painting. Alright, y'all, the itchy feet have won out, so I'm gonna head out to 5Below and Dollar Tree because I've been seeing sneaks and peeks of the fact that Dollar Tree has really upped their craft section, and I've seen that in real life too, but YouTube is telling me they got some really good stuff now, so I gotta go see for myself. Just because you got it good stuff up in like Maine and Delaware doesn't mean we get it down here, but maybe we do. So I want to go check that out, and then hopefully I'll be able to focus on getting some painting done once I've scratched that itch. So let's go. Alright, I know that took a while. That took forever. I hope you guys will check out the haul video from my Dollar Tree and 5Below haul. I'm not going to include that in this vlog. I'm going to separate it out, but it will go live after this vlog has gone live sometime next week. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested in the goodies that I found and the goodies I left behind in the store. I've still got some painting to do tonight, so I'll probably end the night by painting. But other than that, that kind of wraps up this week. This has been a week. As a Louisianian, I am grateful that we did not get the super harsh weather, that we do not have the problems that Texas is having right now. As I have mentioned every other day this week, my heart goes out to my friends and family and friends I haven't yet met in Texas. And it would really mean a lot to me if you're able to, if you would donate to one of the warming shelters or one of the food banks or just any of the people who are out there in Texas doing some legitimate good. I've been sharing those links over on Twitter, and I will drop some of them down in the description below. I myself have donated to a few of them, so I'm not asking you to do anything that I haven't done, but it would really mean a lot to me because the Gulf Coast, we gotta look out for each other. And, you know, when people are hit hard in a situation like this, a situation that, frankly, the individuals who are suffering right now aren't necessarily the ones who saw it coming, and they weren't in a position to make these kind of preparations. And now they're the ones who are suffering for it. So I think, you know, it would be nice as Americans for us to help one another out and to look out for one another and care about other people like we would our brothers and sisters and our family, because they're suffering. And I would hope the next time Louisiana's hit hard, that Texas would look out for us. So if you enjoy what I do, it would really mean a lot to me if you would check out one of the groups down in the description below who are out there doing some good. and, you know, maybe send them 10 bucks or 20 bucks or whatever you can spare. But I hope you guys were safe and warm and happy as possible this week. I hope this vlog kept you guys at least some company. And I was just thinking, I sure don't talk a lot about art for this being an art channel, so I'm going to try to fix that. If you guys have any artsy questions, if you want to know about going to art school, if you want to know about putting together a portfolio, if you want to know what it's like working as an artist, any of those kind of questions, what I do to warm up or what I do to improve, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll start working answers to those and videos about that into these weekly vlogs. So, I love you guys. We had Valentine's Day and Mardi Gras this week. Next week, we thankfully don't have a whole lot. Please, please, please don't throw anything else on my plate. But I hope to make lots of art with you guys next week, and I hope your next week is safe, warm, happy, and healthy as well. So have a wonderful day, guys. Bye.